Mongol estate planner.
So we run into what is known as a living will. And a living will is probably the most misnamed document that I write, but we should call it the Doing Good Deployment document. But some call living will sounds a whole lot nicer.
Mongol estate planning, Wednesdays at 2:30 during ATX. Ask the experts on KLZ 560. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, Crawford Broadcasting, Ghana Country Station.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem, they want to ask you a bunch of questions, they want to have them answered immediately, or just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does the bottom track clear on the printers work?
Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. Dennis Brewster joining me today from Extreme Auto Repair. Dennis filled in for me last week in this chair because I was moving.
Right.
You're moving. Moving stinks.
Yeah,
moving, like physically moving my house, which that
right.
just stinks.
Yeah. That's why I've been around them 23 years.
Yeah, and the longer you are someplace, the worse it is.
We cleaned out. Yeah, I had to deal with my parents, so we cleaned out a lot of stuff. We went home and said, we got to get rid of this stuff. And so we did. We got rid of a lot.
And we did too before we moved. And then when we moved, we realized, why did we move that?
Yeah.
It's either doesn't fit or you're looking at it like, why are we moving this crap? We don't need, this is another item that should have just gotten tossed.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem would be the garage, the stuff I save. Why do I have 3 of these, or why do I have 2 of these, or why do I still have those shocks for
that car?
94.
No longer own any longer. Yeah.
And I'm going to throw away. Well, I might have. I better not. Better hang on to it. Maybe how it is.
It's like, so what are you going to use those old? What are you going to use that old something for at some point?
Yeah.
You're probably not. Because if you build something, you'd go buy new stuff because you want the new technology anyway. So you're probably not going to do anything with those anyway.
If they're a shock, they've been sitting there forever.
They're no good anyways.
Yeah, they're no good.
That's where they go.
Yeah, they're metal.
We should actually probably do a show on that someday. What do you keep and what do you toss?
Right. Yeah.
Because I've been known to probably keep some things that my wife wonders, why are we keeping this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you never know when you might need that. And I'm not a pack rat. I don't keep too many. And my wife's going to text me and say, yeah, you are. But I'm not as bad as a lot of folks would probably think. Most car guys are pretty bad pack rats. I'm not that bad. But, some of the things I've moved and I'm wondering is like, I haven't, because of this show, I haven't really been out and hunted and fished in, quite some time. But yet I've still got all the gear, all the hunting gear, all the fishing gear and so on. And I'm thinking, the reality is all that stuff is so much better made today than it was then. Why am I keeping my stuff from 20 years ago?
Right.
That stuff probably should go because if I went and picked that up again, any particular hunting, fishing, hunting, whatever, you're going to buy new stuff anyways.
Right. My dad had this really nice fly rod in a box, and it had velvet like stuff.
Yeah.
When you set it in the slots, when I opened it up, it was all stuck to the pole.
Oh.
And my brother wanted that pole. I'm like, well, you can have it.
You got all that stuff cleaned off of it.
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what happens. It sits around.
Yes, it does.
You got to use it.
It was a reminder for me these last few months, getting ready to pack up and move that you should just go through stuff more often and clean more junk out. And I'll do more of that tomorrow.
And maybe someone else could use it at that time.
A lot of stuff, fortunately for us, we've given a lot of stuff away to people that we knew we would use it. We didn't just toss it. Now, some stuff we have tossed.
Yeah. I'm actually better at the shop than I am at the house.
Yeah, me too.
I make we don't need that stuff. Get it out of here. We can go buy a new one.
Exactly.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I don't do quite as well at home.
Yeah, we should. Especially if you move.
We should. Yeah. All right, 303-477-5600 Drive Radio. We'll take your calls. Any questions that you've got, send them our way. You can also email us at drive-radio.com or send it directly to John, John, @drive-radio.com. We got several stories today we want to talk about. We'll have some updates coming in from the Denver Auto Show around the noontime. I was out there for press day this past week, and I will tell you that there is, if you like cars, it's a fun show. I'll say this right up front. If there's, if you're looking for that new cool concept car that a lot of times the manufacturers will bring, that's not there. So if you're going to go out to the auto show looking for some, new concept car, it won't be there. But all the other new products are out there. There is some old product also. They always do a few old cars that are there. So you can actually go and look at that. And of course, the vendors like Camp Jeep is there. We can actually go and, practice, four-wheel. And, they've actually got dirt inside which is really interesting. There's dirt. We're actually, using the...
they did that last year.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty slick. So, if you get a chance to get out to the Denver Auto Show, I would encourage you to do so. It's always a fun event. Again, my son will be out there later. Richard, he'll call in. We'll get an update of some things going on. Again, I was out there Wednesday, but mostly what you do on Wednesday is you go from press conference to press conference to press conference, and you don't really get as much time to, kind of hang around and look through the different displays that you normally would. So Richard will be out there today. He'll give us an update on some of the things. One of the coolest new vehicles, and some of you are going to be shocked at this, but one of the coolest new vehicles there is the new Chrysler Pacifica, which is their new minivan, which they took the name from the old kind of wagon that they had. The Town and Country is going to go away. Pacifica will take over that. And I'll tell you what, Dennis, when we had kids, you and I both, if they'd have had the Pacifica when we had kids, I'd owned it.
Really?
It's that slick. So those of you that have families and have kids, I'm typically not a huge minivan fan, but I'll tell you right now, the Pacifica, nice vehicle. You'll enjoy it. Really cool technology, stone-go seating. It's just got some really cool things to it. And here's the best of it. It doesn't look like a minivan. That's the best part. It's got really cool lines on it, so it looks really good. Yeah, it's really nice. All right, so let's go to the phones. Bob in Fort Collins is up first today. Bob, welcome to Drive Radio. What's happening today?
Hey, I'm having issues with a 97 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I was told that I need a new computer for it. It just stalled out on me, and it seemed like it was a fuel pump, and then I actually was just northwest of Fort Collins, and was able to get it started the next day and drove it all the way up and said, nope. I had a buddy come over and he plugged in a computer that he had and set up and gave it a signal for it's your computer. And he said, just go and get one. And then I was told by another mechanic that I need to get it flashed, and I need a VIN number and my mileage. And I'm just curious, how do I go about that? Do I need to do that? Do I need to pull the old computer and bring it to the parts store?
On what is 97?
Straight 6.
I'm not sure the parts store can even do that. Don't you have to have a? I'm trying to think of the exact scan tool. You need a DRB, but I don't remember which version of that, Dennis, you need on a 97 to do the reprogramming of that.
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
It's a DRB is what they call it. You need a DRB to do the reprogramming of that. I'm not sure the parts stores can actually do that.
Okay.
You're from Collins?
Yes. Yeah, I sat down at a parts store, and he said, I need the number of the computer. And so then I went to look, and I didn't see it. And then I had another vehicle. I brought into a mechanic. He's like, just take the computer and bring it with you, and then they'll be able to replace it. And I'm just getting different stories from different people.
Yeah, I don't
have a community up there in Fort Collins.
Yeah, call Stacia Hamp up at Community Auto. Their number is listed on our website. Give them a call and ask them how they typically would do that. I would doubt very seriously if you can roll into the parts store and get what you need on a 97. Now, some of the later model units, yes, you can do that, but I would guess on a 97 that's not correct.
Okay,
Community Auto up in Fort Collins. That's our member shop in Fort Collins.
Okay, where are they located?
They're on the south side of Fort Collins.
Okay.
You again, they're listed.
Larry can give you their address and stuff if you want to. We can put you back on hold.
Yeah, and actually, if you give me just about 3 seconds or so here, I'll get the internet fired up here real quick. Give me just 1 second, and I'll tell you it's not that complicated. Hang on 1 second, and we'll look it up here. And actually, Larry's got it. Good. Okay, Timberline. That's why I couldn't think of the name of the street off the top of my head. Timberline. So 1925 South Timberline.
Okay.
Easy to find. Good shop. They've got the tools and what you'll need for that. The biggest question on that is going to be either, and you may have to actually go this route. You may have to have, if it in fact is a computer, and that's where you got to make sure that is in fact what's wrong with it. You may have to fix yours, because finding another one might be tough. You may actually have to send yours out and get it repaired.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And so the best way to do it, I guess I'd have to, I live up in the foothills, so the best way, I guess, talk to them and then maybe
call them first. You give them a call first. Their number is 970-484-7556.
Okay.
Okay? Give them a call, see what they say, and go from there. That's what I would do first.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Yeah, because I don't think the last one of those, it's been in that being a 97, Dennis, that's a while back. The last one of those we did, if I'm not mistaken, we had to pull the unit, send it, get it fixed, get it back, and that's the only way we were able to do that particular unit. But I will also say this: that's not a common occurrence on a 97.
Right. I wonder if there's something else.
They didn't go bad all the time.
Yeah, there's got to be something else.
So first thing to do on that is get somebody to really get a good look at it, find out what's going on. If in fact it does need a computer, I think the answer would be you might have to actually have that one taken out and sent in and fixed.
Right.
So 303-477-5600. Give us a call. Any questions that you've got? We do have some winter driving tips that Larry brought in. I wonder why Larry did that.
I don't know.
Did it happen yesterday?
I don't know.
And they know this morning that we needed to maybe know winter weather driving tips?
I don't know. I saw some tow trucks out there, so if you get in an accident, you just call them.
That's it, huh?
Yeah,
why learn to drive in the snow?
No, you don't need to.
I mean, yesterday, as I was driving around plowing snow, trying to get from point A to point B, following BMW 3 Series cars with Florida license plates that couldn't drive over 5 miles an hour, I had to wonder, maybe we should talk about these winter weather driving tips tomorrow.
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's over, isn't it?
Yeah, it's springtime. Actually, spring starts tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow's the first day of spring, so we don't have to worry about it. Just no big deal. Winter's over. It's Colorado.
We're not going to get any more snow.
Exactly. No big deal. So here's a question for you. When would you recommend everybody take their winter tires off, if in fact they're smart enough to run winter tires?
Probably Memorial Day.
Another month plus?
2 months, yeah.
Speaking of that, I heard that, in fact, I can't remember if it was you or Larry telling me this, because we were just talking about this a minute ago. There were folks that were irritated yesterday because they wouldn't let them drive up I-70 because they didn't have good enough tires. That was you.
Yeah.
So explain that.
Well, because if you go up in the mountains, they're going to check. You got to have a certain depth of tires, and you better have a four-wheel drive vehicle. Otherwise, they're not going to let you up. And if you get in an accident, if they catch you with those tires, they're not going to let you go up. But also, if you get up in there and get in an accident, you're going to be probably ticketed more. I don't exactly know how they do that, but I know that if you get in an accident and you don't have adequate tires, you're in trouble. If our trucks, you see the chains law is in effect.
You have to have the right tires.
Yeah, they just do. And they shouldn't have to police that, but because
knuckleheads drive without good tires?
Yeah.
We do? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yep. I mean, I see it. You see these cars that have been in accidents in our yard, and you go look at the tires, and you go, okay. That's why
the fines can range between $130 to $650 if traffic is obstructed.
Because of you, right?
Because of you.
Yeah.
And the tires must have a mud, snow designation or a four-wheel drive vehicle to be able to travel on roadways without a potential fine. All tires must have a minimum of 1/8 inch tread, period, even if you've got a four-wheel drive.
The guy that runs my tow company, Kevin, he was going up in the mountains to Grundy this weekend, or this Friday. He's leaving. They had 28 inches of snow, plus another foot coming Thursday night. So I told him about that. I warned him about that. And he said, yeah, I know. I'm taking... Wow. He had new tires put on his Yukon, so he was...
By the way, the law that you're talking about is a Code 15.
Code 15.
That's what you're getting up. Code 15. That's the law. So we'll do this. We'll take a real quick timeout. We'll come right back. We're going to talk about some winter driving tips. And a question for you that are listening out there. We try to throw a question out to each week, and it depends on the week and how successful we are at this. But who was the worst driver that you saw, whether it was yesterday or maybe all winter long in a snowstorm? Explain. The worst driver you saw either yesterday or this winter, explain that driver and the situation, 303-477-5600.
And before you do that, make sure it's not your wife that you're talking about or your husband that you're talking about. We don't want to create any problems.
Yeah, we don't want any family rifts here.
No.
All right, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is Drive Radio. John Rush, Dennis Brewster, KLZ 560.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that will make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty with any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaAutoline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
The Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Check to see that exterior and interior lights work and headlights are properly aimed. You can do it yourself or have any Colorado Select Car Care Center take care of it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, added to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
Please do a video or accident. You want to get your car repaired quickly by top-notch experts that know your car. Don't mess around with the cumbersome national auto body chain. We have no idea as to who is working on your car. Kinder Collision Experts is a locally owned auto collision repair facility that will give you that personal touch you deserve. We'll help you deal with your insurance company and get you back on the road quickly without skimping on quality. Kinder Collision Experts are Tinder's experts in auto body repair. Call Tinder Collision Experts today at 303-761-0955, 303-761-0955, or check them out at tindercollision.com. Be sure to tell them Drive Radio sent you. At Atlanta West Auto Truck, we won't try to impress you with a waiting room with a big screen TV and want to. What we will do is give you good service and expert repair. We're pride ourselves. We've been interested in you and your vehicle. We'll stand behind our work with the power of Napa Auto Care and a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty. And if needed, we will have a customer waiting area. Come see us at Atlanta West Auto for all your repair needs. We're located at 11752 West 64th Avenue, West Atlanta, or call 303-420-1065 for an appointment.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing. But most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility. And they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASS certified. They're controlling with you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Drive Radio, KLZ 560 on a, what's going to be a fine Saturday here before long once the sun gets up and burns some of this cloud cover off. I think it'll warm up a little bit tomorrow. It's supposed to be even nicer. We're back into some decent weather first part of the week with some more potential snow coming later Wednesday.
Did you get any snow last night?
Yes.
Yeah.
About half an inch or so in my place.
It's just a dusting, but it's caused problems.
A lot this morning.
Yeah.
I'm
On a Saturday?
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. People, really, this isn't that difficult to drive. It's really not.
And we should have already been used to it since we've already had winter.
I drove in today, by the way. I'll give you a little review, which is an interesting car. Some people love it or hate it. Chevy Volt.
Mm-hmm.
Plug-in, of course, car. It is a all-electric car with a gas engine that assists in the charging and doesn't really drive the engine. It actually just handles the recharging of the battery system that's there. So it essentially works off of battery power for the most part. It's a very sophisticated system. Actually, the car works well, drives well. I've got no complaints. Noisy on the interior, which I'm not a fan of. But one of the biggest complaints I have with the Volt, and I remember this from the last one I drove when I got in today, and it seems like I always get these things in the winter, or at least it's always cold and snowy out when I drive them, it is one of the coldest vehicles you'll drive because there's really no
the heating system isn't.
Yeah, there's
not
nothing.
using water.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no coolant system, quote unquote, that they're running the heater through. They're running it off the heat of the battery. And I'll tell you right now, the reason they heat all 4 seats in the car
because you need it.
Because you need it, otherwise you freeze to death.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally, you have to get at the end of a half an hour trip or so to even have any kind of warmth coming out of the vents.
Right.
Not exaggerating.
Yeah.
That part for me would be a deal killer.
Yeah.
Other reasons probably, but that's the one that would
maybe if you're down somewhere where the heat and the
maybe
even cold, but I don't know what it would do during cold. I don't know how
it does on the cooling. I don't know. I'll find out in the day. Well, let's see. I've got the car till Monday. Might know tomorrow.
Yeah, check that out.
It might be warm enough tomorrow to use a little bit of AC, so we'll find out how that part's. I'm guessing that part probably works okay because they can do an electric pump and so on.
I'd like to see what they got for it.
I didn't crack the hood on it.
Yeah.
I should, but I haven't yet.
I'd be curious to see what they're using for the heater to do.
But it's an interesting car, highly technologically advanced car. And as far as how the car works and drives and all of that, I've got no complaints. Interior noise is a little bit noisy. My biggest complaint again is this heat issue. Driving in the snow though, I mean, I came down today and people were slipping and sliding all over the place, and I just buzzed right along. No big deal. It's amazing to me how people drive.
I don't know if that's the car so much as it is you, the driver. Because I can see other people in other cars. I seen a lady in a RAV4 today, and she couldn't get out of her own way. So I don't know.
So here's the first one. Few little tips. And by the way, that tire law, Larry said, goes through May
15th,
like May 15th or something. You want to say? But
I would have thought
they're not bad. So then that's Dennis's rule of thumb.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to go out, don't. That's a really easy one. If you don't have to go out when it's really slick and nasty and bad out like it was yesterday, then now I realize a lot of people have to go to work and so on. But here's the deal on that. If you know you have to go to work, no matter what the weather is like, then you better have the right vehicle to be prepared. We've got a few winter beaters that we're going to bring up here in a little bit too, where maybe not everybody likes to own that third car, Dennis, but if you just need a car to get you to and from when it's really snowy outside, maybe owning a winter beater isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of that as the show goes on. So, but if you don't have to go out, don't.
And a lot of times, if you're going to go out, leave early. I don't know if that's one of your tips.
That's not on your notes. Leave enough time.
Leave early, because then don't be in a big hurry. And if
yeah. The biggest thing about blizzards is reduced visibility. Yeah, that's a no-duh, you think? Yeah, because you can't see. Don't use high beams during the blizzard. Okay, yeah, that makes common sense. Or that's just common sense. Don't use high beams in a blizzard. The light reflects off the snow and causes less visibility. If you can't see the road, pay attention to the road reflectors. What I'm going to tell you is if it's that bad, you should probably not be driving.
That's another one. Stay around home.
Yeah, if it's that bad and you can't see other than looking at the road reflectors, you probably ought to get off the road unless you're really, really experienced in driving in adverse weather and have a vehicle that can handle it.
Now, I live out east, and if you're driving down looking for those reflectors, a lot of times the plow's already taken them out.
They're gone. They're not there.
Yeah, we're looking for fence posts
exactly.
and telephone poles.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy, you got a question for us. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Since you said when you can't see the road, don't drive. I got caught up in a UP in Michigan where I couldn't see the road, and guess what? I was in the ditch.
Yeah, exactly. Great example.
Especially if you're following the car ahead of you. You'll wind up over the windows. Yeah.
Full-blown whiteout, coming off the water and all.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. Those are tough conditions. You bet.
I just, I thought I could drive straight, but I was in the ditch. Anyway, I used Castro, and they came out with a new motor oil, Microtech, and it's a 540. And on my 99 Cherokee, I know you said that the step straight 6. You said the 40 is fine for that. But my concern is, when people say, you could lose a little gas mileage or what have you, it kind of makes sense to me. If I'm going to lose a little gas mileage, then I must be putting a little strain on the engine due to the thicker oil. Is that the case? Because I don't want to work my engine any harder.
This is there's no short answer to that. So, rule of thumb, yes. If you gain mileage through better oil, for example, then yes, the engine isn't working as hard because that's where you get better efficiency and you get better,
right.
You get better results as far as miles per gallon goes. As far as total longevity of the engine is concerned, I think you'd be hard pressed to prove that, one brand, one weight, one viscosity has any bearing in longevity one over the other, providing you're using the proper viscosity the engine manufacturer requires. So in other words, if they tell you can run, 530 or 1030, and you vacillate between the two because of the temperatures that are outside, as long as you're running one of those two weights, longevity, speaking of the engine, I don't think you're going to find much difference between using, for example, the 530 versus the 1030. Now, when it comes to the quality of the oil and using full synthetics versus a standard oil, yes, you will see a better longevity out of the synthetic oil than you will the standard oil, and that's where you're going to see your mileage improvements. So to make a long, to kind of sum all that up in a quick way, I guess you could say that if you're getting better fuel economy, that's better for the engine. Your longevity is most likely going to be better. But I'll be honest with you, you'd have to do some really, really close lab testing, same exact vehicle, same exact driver, one weight versus another, figuring out how much longer longevity speaking you're going to get out of synthetic versus regular oil. And I don't know anybody that's done that.
Right.
There's some taxi cab companies out there that claim they've run synthetic and they've done a lot of testing with Mobil 1 and they can get a much longer life out of the engine. And, those cases are probably true. You as a regular Joe car owner, homeowner, etc., I don't know that you'd see enough difference longevity-wise. Most people are going to just flat get tired of the car, need to move into something different before you'd wear the engine out running any good quality oil.
Well, yeah, because they are both full synthetic, and it does call for a 530, and this is a 540. But I mean, again, if you can lose a little gas mileage, that means the little more work on the engine would probably be also little.
A little bit, yes. But again, I think we're splitting hairs when you start getting into that territory.
What was the name of the Castrol oil?
The new one that came out was called Microtech, and it only comes in the 540 would be the closest.
Just a real quick side note. Nothing against Castrol. I think they make a great product, but just keep this in the back of your mind and everybody else listening. They don't make their own oil. Somebody else builds their oil for them. Castrol is a great marketing company. They do a great job with their publicity and all of the things that they do when it comes to selling oil. But they, as far as I know, unless this has changed in the last 4 or 5 years, they don't build their own product.
But I thought it was BP, which would be, British Petroleum?
I don't think BP and Castrol are related. I'd have to look that up to be sure, so don't quote me on that. I've not heard that they are.
I was saying something out of India, so...
Yeah, in the past, Castrol has used some of the major manufacturers of oil, Amelie, some of those other type of companies that are out there that make oil for lots of different companies that then just put their name on it. Now, I will say this. It's their formulation. It's their brand of oil. I mean, it is their oil, but they are not an oil manufacturer, quote unquote.
Well, I guess to sum it up real quick, if I'm going from 530 to 540, I mean, can I do that without a headache? And that
Yes, most definitely.
All right. Well, then, can you give me my answer? So thank you very much.
And real quick, I did look up, Randy. So they may have changed something here recently. It does say that Castrol is a part of BP, which means in that case, BP would be making Castrol's oil,
which is British Petroleum.
British Petroleum, correct. Which again, there's nothing wrong with it. I just want to make sure everybody understands that a lot of these oil companies do not build their own oils. Yeah, they're a subset of somebody else, and it could be that in recently, I have to go back and look at the history. It could be that Castrol was bought by BP. I'd have to go back and look at that. And actually, they were acquired in 2002. So because years ago, Castrol was just a marketing company, sold oil, built by somebody else. So BP acquired them in 2002.
Yeah, I think they're in the top 5 or 6.
It's a good oil. Yeah, they're good oil. I would buy and use their oil. I just want to make sure that we're explaining things correctly because it's any good high quality name brand oil you're not going to have problems with. You'll hear me on this show all the time. Say I am not a loyalist when it comes to oil. Me personally.
Right. No, and as long as it has all the right specs. I'll use it. We go for the best value for the customer,
and as long as it meets the specs of that engine, that's all I care about.
Yeah, it does. I just didn't want to put a stress on the engine with 85.
Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
30 to 40. But
You'll be fine.
Okay, you guys have a good day.
You too. Yeah, I'm glad I looked it up. So, Randy, appreciate that phone call. I appreciate you, kind of making me check into that because I knew. It just shows you how long we've been doing the show. A long time, because years ago, Castrol was its own entity.
Right.
So BP bought them or acquired them, which means they bought them in 2002. So Castrol's a good product. I've got nothing against Castrol at all. In fact, they make some great products. And they are now a division of British Petroleum. Frank is up next. What's going on, Frank?
Oh, yeah, I got an 02 Chevy Suburban on the water pump mounting bolts to the engine block. It was one leaking. I found it was, barely, but I tried to torque it and see if it's up, and they just keep turning, don't torque up. The one side sort of torqued up. There's 3 on one and 3 on that other, but what do I need to do on that? And then on the exhaust manifold where the tailpipe connects up in there like that donut, 3 triangle bolts. I had to try to take that down. A mechanic told me you take down that to lower the thing to change the transmission fluid filter.
Correct.
And it broke on the way out. I guess I just didn't have it done right, but I snapped the stud and the
That's tough. Those are tough to get out. You need really what you need to get that bolt out of there is you're going to have some sort of a torch to get things heated up nice and hot, an extractor, and hopefully you can get it out at that point. If not, you're going to be putting a manifold on it.
Oh, okay. Boy, yeah, I guess who would be the best person for that to do then?
Any of our shops can do that for you. Find them all at drive-radio.com, but any of our guys can handle that. And as far as the water pump bolt not tightening up, is it leaking out of the water pump?
There at the mounting bolt, not the water pump, at where it mounts, it's leaking out against the engine block where the one bolt is. But the other bolts, I tried to see if they were torqued up, and none of them. They were like maybe 12 pounds, and then they just turn and turn. I turned about 8 times, and they still didn't start to even torque up. Now, one side did torque up a little bit.
Must have either the bolt's bad or the threads are bad, which means if that's the case, you have to heel coil the thread and put a new bolt in.
And you know what? Honestly, if it was leaking, that water probably corroded those bolts.
And probably the threads are bad in the bolts.
And the threads are probably because the water would go right down in those threads.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't know what happened on there. There's somebody that I took it over here to put in a alarm system. But how about the they've got that what do they call where it's a restore used for restoring threads. They have one of those things you can lift from.
You can't put metal back on metal.
Yeah, there's no such thing. No matter what company out there, from JB Weld on down, and I love all those guys dearly, but that stuff does not work.
Yeah.
We lose you? I think we lost Frank. That's okay. Not a big deal. We're about done with that call anyways. Yeah, there's no, when it comes to restore an engine or restore a thread, neither one work.
Yeah.
When the metal component has worn out, as Dennis just said, to my knowledge, nobody makes any sort of a metal restore product.
Right. Once the threads are gone, you can't restore them.
Yeah. I mean, unless they're filling that in with some sort of a really super hard epoxy that joins both threads together seals it, that's a whole different ballgame. And
there's some things you can do creative with, but not when it comes to a bolt holding on a water pump.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, if that bolt has any kind of pressure, stress, weight on it at all, it's not going to last.
Well, just like when you're doing heads, sometimes you got to replace the head bolts because they stretch. And the manufacturer calls for head bolts to be replaced.
Here's another example of that, Dennis. It's like back when we were doing a lot of trailer hitch installations. I would never, ever put a trailer hitch on using used bolts.
No.
I always even if it was a used trailer hitch, I would never put a hitch on with any kind of a used bolt. Why? Because the amount of stress and weight that's on that, you want to use new bolts.
I don't want the liability.
Exactly. Yes. So we'll take a real quick break. We'll come right back. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. Any question that you've got, we're going to give you some other driving tips for the winter because we're not out of it yet. Another storm potentially coming on Wednesday. So stay with us. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes a combustion, which saves cash at the pump. But when lows compression, the piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket, with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product. It cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as in Engine Performance Restoration, that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find the shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You'll find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket. When you clean your engine with BG.
At Longtree Veterinary Medical Center, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. And because we know that your pet will have many different needs throughout its life, we offer complete pet care services. Whether your furry friend needs a checkup, vaccinations, boarding, grooming, obedience training, we are here for your pet 7 days a week. At Longtree Veterinary Medical Center, we know that you want the very best for your pet, which is why you can count on us for the latest in technology and methods in everything we do. We are certified with the highest rankings by the American Animal Hospital Association and won a Gold Star rating with the Better Business Bureau. You and your pet can visit us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Moultrie. Learn more about us by visiting our website at MoultrieVet.com or give us a call at 303-708-8050. We believe that all pets deserve to have a good life.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks to our Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People, and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services, like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain these with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 products. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-line belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new adaptable brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store. But at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaAuto.com. Napa, get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, delivered by one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
Drive Radio, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, KLZ 560, and appreciate you joining me today, Dennis.
Yeah, no problem. I feel like I live here now.
Your last week, kind of like me, huh?
Yeah, you're kind of getting the idea of how you're here all the time.
Rubbing it off, huh?
Right.
Rubbing off on you.
If I may, I'd like to mention something. I belong to a Rotary Club in Parker, and they're collecting food at the Stroh's Ranch King Super. So if you happen to be walking by, you see those guys, do us a favor. We're collecting them for the Parker Task Force. Stop in there, give them some food.
Right.
I'm trying to get them to call in to see how they're doing. Good stuff. Yeah, it is. And the Parker Task Force does a lot more than just give people food. I mean, to go there is amazing. We're going to be doing a tour next week at the task force new building that they have, but they also help with, they don't just give you stuff. They make you go through a program, and you have to do these things in order to get the food and everything.
Very cool.
It's very holding you accountable to do what you need to do.
Very good. That's awesome. Well, yeah. So if you're out in that area, drop some food by and help out Dennis and the Rotary Club and the task force up in Parker. And that's the Parker Task Force, right?
Yeah.
All right. Another thing I need to mention real quick is a new sponsor that we had a few weeks ago that joined us, and make sure you pay him a visit if need be, is Joaquin Vega, Denver Collision Expert. So anything you need when it comes to your vehicle's paint care, collision, everything that's just happened the last couple of days, if you're finding yourself, gosh, I need somebody that'll fix this.
Yeah.
He can do it for you. The phone number 303-761-0955. And then Kevin Flesh, FleshLawFirm.com is going to be joining us. And in fact, we're going to start having Kevin on the program on a regular basis to answer some of the legal questions that we can get from time to time.
Those cards are really cool. We talked about those last week that he gave out, what to do in an accident. I mean, that would have been perfect for my accident awareness clinic.
Yeah. And Kevin is willing to come out to help us with some of those. So we're going to have Kevin on the show. But if you need anything at all when it comes to any legal need you've got, especially accidents, getting a gun trust put together, things along those lines, Kevin does a lot of stuff for me. Have him do it for you. It's Kevin Flesh at FleshLawFirm.com. We'll have him back on air with us. We've had him once before. We'll have him back here in the very near future. So give Kevin a call. Anything you need, he'll take care of you. All right, going on with our winter driving tips. Lines are open, by the way. If you got something you want to add or ask a question, we're open. 303-477-5600. Keep a kit in your car. Dennis, you and I have talked about this numerous times in the past. Safety kit in the car. Things that you want to keep in there. We've got an entire list before we've put up on our Drive Radio website. But worm clothes, shovel, flashlight, blankets, snacks. I like the space blankets, water, some thin gloves, a trash bag. Trash bags work great for all sorts of things.
Right.
From keeping you warm to keeping you dry,
keeping the water out,
putting it down underneath your knees if you had a flat tire. I mean, so many different things. A few paper towels are great, and they make some really cool things now. They make this like waterless hand soap towelettes.
Yes,
that helps you get your fingers all, hands all cleaned off. If you actually had to, change a tire or something along those lines, you'd be able to, clean your hands all off in that particular case.
They were good if you're at the gas station, you go to pick up the pump and it's got gas all over it because someone else did something wrong or hit the thing and it flushed out.
Oh, that would be great.
It's good to have in your car.
The other thing I've given my wife, which she probably has to keep being reminded that it's in the back end of her car, but they make emergency cell phones. Mm-hmm. That something ever happens to your phone, it gets wet, it gets smashed, you'll forget it, you lose it, all of a sudden it runs out of battery. They make these little cell phones. In fact, I'll put them up on our website again, but they make a cell phone, works off of some lithium-ion batteries. It's got like a 10-year shelf life. Wow. It's an emergency use only. You're not going to call your friend or your relative, but you're going to call 911, and it's got pretty good signal coverage. It works on everybody's network, so it'll pick up any signal anywhere. You can dial 911, off you go. That's not a bad thing to throw back either where the spare tire's at if you've got an SUV or in the glove compartment if you've got a regular car.
And the other thing, like what we were giving away at our car show was these little flashlights are only about 2 inches long, and they are bright. You ever see those things? Mm-hmm. You just click them, and then everybody gets them. But
I'm not mistaken, Dennis, real quick. Let me look at this. I think that that cell phone I was just mentioning has a flashlight. I'm going to say I should have brought that thing in. We could have talked about it today.
Well, most cell phones have a flashlight and stuff.
And I think this little one actually does come with one. It's called the Spare One Emergency Cell Phone. They're $60, $59.99, and again, I believe they've got a shelf life. We did a review on them not that long ago. It's a great little product, by the way.
It sounds like it.
All right, let's go to Ken, who's up next. Ken, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Well, good morning to you. First, I'm a do-it-yourself person with regard to cars for the most part.
Okay.
I'm anticipating changing the timing belt on the 99 Lexus. I'm wondering what you might suggest as far as me doing that, or what needs to be done, or special tools, or is it something a do-it-yourselfer should even attempt?
Well, it depends. We don't know your capabilities because even when we're giving jobs to technicians, we don't know what their capabilities are. We got to make sure we know what they can do.
And yeah, in other words, when you hire a new technician, you go through a process where you learn what, even though and I'm not trying to be hard on technicians, but even though they'll tell you they can do something, they may not actually be able to. So you learn real quick whether or not they can or can't. And so even some technicians, when it comes to certain jobs, i.e. timing belts, don't fit everybody's skill set.
Yeah, so have you ever done a timing belt before or a timing chain?
I have not, but I have done engine rebuilding. I've replaced a lot of components on vehicles, including rear axles and I don't know. I rebuilt transmissions. I've done a number of things like that over the years.
Well, here's what I would recommend you do. This is something that I would recommend to most anybody out there. There is so many YouTube videos now out there on these sorts of things. What I would do if I were you, Ken, is pull up on YouTube, just type in 99 Lexus. I think that's got a 3-liter engine in it. 99 Lexus 3-liter timing belt. Watch somebody do it, and after watching it, look and see if how many special tools did they use, or were they able to work around some of the special tools that you need? What kind of time frame does it take? And you'll learn pretty quickly just by watching somebody whether or not it's worth having all your knuckles busted over.
If you feel comfortable. The other thing I would do, Ken, is I would call around and ask what someone else would charge to do it. Because here's the thing: if they do it and they mess up, they pay for it.
True.
If you do it and mess up and have an accident, or let's say you put it on there and something goes bad in another part, you got to go back in and do it again. You'll get the part free, but you'll have to do all the labor again, where they'll do all the labor and everything for free.
And from the average cost, there's a website that we use where you can go to and kind of figure out what an average cost of that repair is. You're looking at around $500. That's a national average for that timing belt, which means you're going to spend about half of that for parts. Because you're going to want to do a water pump at the same time. Now, I don't know if this includes a water pump replacement at the $500. It may or may not. That's probably idlers, probably a timing belt, probably does not include a water pump, which I would do, by the way, which tells you that the labor is not super heavy. You're probably looking at 3-4 hours labor to actually do the job. What you need to sit down and figure out is, by the time you buy all the parts yourself, to Dennis's point, have no warranty on the labor at that side of the fence. Is it worth spending a couple $100 in labor to have somebody else do it?
Because here's where the value comes in: is when you're driving down the road and a part fails. Let's say you put a new water pump on, and you're in Kansas, and that water pump fails.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. You have your tools with you to replace that water pump.
With the new Napa Peace of Mind warranty, we've done it as a Colorado Select group for a number of years, but Napa nationally now picked up on what we were doing. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Coast-to-coast warranty on that timing belt replacement. So some of that you have to kind of say, wait a minute, peace of mind-wise, am I better off just spending the $500 or $600 and having somebody else do it, and then having that coast-to-coast warranty? But depends on where you travel.
And also, that's a bigger job. I mean, if you were doing plugs on your car, I can say, just go ahead and do them. If you're doing brakes, go ahead and do them. A water pump is a timing belt is a little bit more technical on that side, and you wouldn't have the tools in your trunk to replace that.
Correct. And one other thing to remember, too, on an overhead cam engine versus some of the stuff that you may have done in the past, Ken, when it comes to engine overhauls and such, it's not a small block Chevy. There's a lot more componentry that you've got to make sure you keep lined up and dialed in, because if anything gets a tooth off, nothing runs.
Right. Because I'm not sure on that if it is 2 cams on there or 1 on each side. But it's going to have...
It's an overhead cam motor, so it should have 1 on each side.
1 on each side. And if they roll just a little bit, like John's saying, you're 1 tooth off on 1 cam,
you're in trouble.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate
You're
your
welcome,
information.
Ken. Appreciate it. And now, I'm not saying you can't do it. You very easily could. For example, you do a 5.4 Ford.
Right.
You have to have a specific tool to keep the cams locked, because when you take the belt off, the cam wants to roll, to Dennis's point a moment ago. If you don't have that stationary and in the right spot, you're in big trouble.
Right.
So, side note.
Yeah. I'm saying that from experience.
That's exactly right. Jim and Centennial, you're next.
I got a question. I got a 2005 Milano, and the AC compressor, I had taken in 3 times where they charge it. They put a dye in to see if it leaks.
Okay.
It would run for a couple of weeks, and then it would quit. And I'd take it in, they'd recharge it. They did it 3 times. Now they say the compressor's bad. Is that true?
It's possible.
That could very well be true.
It seems kind of strange, though, that it'll cool for a couple of weeks. And then obviously there's a leak or something, but they haven't been able to find it. So now they're saying, I think they're just tired of recharging it and said, now it needs a new compressor.
They should be able to see with the dye in it. They should be able to determine where that leak is at and handle it, whether that's in the compressor or it's external. They should be able to handle that.
But if they can't see it, then it might be in the evaporator. Who knows? Because you got to take that apart.
Which means the compressor is not going to fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See what Dennis is saying there? So in other words, if you can't see it, it's in the evaporator because it's inside of the car itself. Yeah, compressor is not going to fix that.
I would ask them, did you see where it's coming out yet? Is that for sure where it's coming out? Because if you put this compressor on, I'm not paying for it if it doesn't fix the car.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
So what's an evaporator then?
The evaporator actually sits by the heater box.
That's what's got the cold air in it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
That's not the right way to say it. That's what's getting cold the air runs across that and blows out the vents. That's
it's like the radiator in a way. It looks like a radiator. It's got fins and things like that, and it's inside by the heater box. And when that blows by,
right, it's like a heater core, only it's the cooling part of it for the AC.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it ever have to be replaced then?
Not unless it's leaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that it could be the compressor seal leaking, which is the compressor, and sometimes they start to come apart in there. But unless we see it and see where that stuff's coming from, because we make our guys verify it, because if they do come to me and say it's a compressor, and we put a compressor on it, doesn't fix the car, he's got a problem, because we're taking that compressor back off, putting the old compressor back on, and I'm going to make my guy find the leak.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it just seemed kind of strange that it would work for a couple of weeks and then it quit. So it seems to me like the compressor's got to be okay.
Which means it's leaking pretty good. So they should be able to see where that leak is coming from.
You could go get a second opinion too.
I would in this case.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, I appreciate it.
In Centennial.
Just right off of Dry Creek in Quebec.
Go over and see Geno's.
Yeah, see Geno's.
That's the closest to you. Go see Steve at Geno's. They're over at Bellevue and Bowles and Platte Canyon.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, Jim.
Well, good.
You appreciate the phone call. Let's do this. Last break of this hour. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Lines are open 303-477-5600. John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Marquardt has up to 23 different on-board computers, making repairs more complicated than ever. Without the right tools, some of these repairs are nearly impossible. Once again, Extreme Auto Repair in Parker has gone to the extreme for you. Extreme Auto Dennis Brewster invested in the very same scanning tools that dealerships use. This is important because by using these specialized scanning tools, they can directly connect your car's computer system to the actual manufacturer for instant diagnostics. Manufacturer specs and all of the up-to-date, detailed repair information your technician needs to properly fix your car. Best of all, they are faster and always cheaper than the dealerships. Extreme Auto Repair, the most technological advanced car care center in Douglas County. Tell them you listen to KLZ and we'll take 20% off your bill. Call 303-841-1071. 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Go to the extreme for you. This is Red Arrow for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coding, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Enter Sports from Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with their mention in this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary adaptive wheel brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com.
Coming back.
Nearest you. Napa. Get the good stuff.
And this is John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Drive Radio. Lines open 303-477-5600. Let's go through a few more tips here. Dennis, by the way, I just put up that cell phone
on Facebook.
Yeah, what I call it, Spare One, I think they call it. Let me say it right here. I'll pull it back up here. Yeah, Spare One. You can find it at spareone.com. And it has an actual, it's not 10 years, Dennis, I was off by 5. 15-year shelf life. Most cars aren't going to be on the road for 15 years. So you can buy that thing for whatever it is, $69.
You can buy these things, by the way, at AT&T, Target stores, wherever. They've got a couple of batteries in them. Shelf life is like I said, 15 years. You can speed dial up to 9 numbers, and it'll tell you if you get a low battery alert. I'm not sure what the 9 numbers would be because you have to have some sort of a plan to be able to handle that. Typically, this thing's used just to, just to have an emergency, and it also has a locate and alert service with it. So they'll be able to locate you with that particular phone. So again, and the other thing I should have mentioned, waterproof.
Yeah, that's key.
So So let's say you end up in a vehicle that, heaven forbid, ends up down in a stream, a lake, a river, a flood, something along those lines. This thing's still going to work.
Right.
Your regular cell phone, the minute it gets into water, unless it's one of these super fancy, waterproof things, or it's in a waterproof case, not going to work. This will.
You were talking about don't use your brights. When you start going like out east and you have no more markers around you, you don't have the street lights, you don't have the just the structures around you, and you're out east and you're just driving along and there's just a fence, and the wind's blowing across, it is very difficult to see. And that's when you start looking for telephone poles, fence lines, because the markers are usually gone.
Exactly.
Because they get hit, People either run them over or whatever.
That's exactly
But you got to watch. I mean, you can't really follow other people. You can follow them a little bit, but you got to be careful because if they go in the ditch, you'll follow them right into a ditch.
All right, so one other thing I was going to mention on this phone, which we were talking a moment ago, Dennis, never charge it, runs on 2 AA batteries, locate and alert buttons for emergencies. It works on virtually any of the networks that are out there. Glow-in-the-dark keypad, flashlight, panic siren, and an SOS signal. All in that phone. Now,
That's
I said, I think you can find the thing for like $69. You can buy it at AT&T or Target. In fact, I'm just clicking the AT&T link here real quick and just see what they sell for. $59.99, $60. Not a bad deal.
Right.
Have that thing in your car at all times. Get into an emergency situation. You've always got communication. Wall off. Nothing else, guys. It's $60 of peace of mind, where even if you forgot your cell phone, you're covered.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, let's go into the rest of this list and we'll finish out the hour. Now, this one, I've never seen this work. Now, if somebody else can tell me that they've done it and it works, I would love to see it. But this one says, keep rubber floor mats in your car in case you get stuck. In other words, you can put the rubber floor mat under the tire and it'll give you some traction to get out. I've never seen that work. Have you, Dennis?
No.
I've never once ever seen that. That to me is an old wives' tale. I've seen people try it, and typically what happens is the floor mat ends about 3 feet or 10 feet behind you,
Or 30.
because it flings it way out back there.
If you're out east, it'll go further because the wind blowing.
I've never ever seen that floor mat trick work.
No.
If you want to do anything to keep yourself from getting stuck, keep a little sand, kitty litter, something along those lines if you want. But really, the reality there is, if you're stuck, you better have a shovel with you.
Yeah.
Literally, or somebody that can come help you get towed out. Drive well below the speed limit and look far in advance of where you're going.
Yeah.
That one is true. Brake earlier than you normally would in dry conditions, of course, because you're not going to have the stopping. You're not going to have the stopping power. You're going to take longer to stop than you normally would. This is really key. Also, drive as smooth as possible.
We talk about that a lot.
No jerking motions, no slamming on the brakes, no harsh acceleration. All of that can cause sliding. And here's the reality, folks. If you don't know how to control your car in those situations, you probably shouldn't be driving.
Yeah. Go to a parking lot and learn. That's the best thing. And I think kids should really learn that more than that.
This is really key, too. If you start to slide, look where you want to go, not at what you can hit. Drivers tend to go where they're looking, so find a solution. Don't touch the gas or the brake pedal. Sliding means the wheels are not rolling, allowing the tires to grip the ground again, and that's a good advice. I will agree with that one. Steer where you want to go, not what you're trying to avoid. In other words, look ahead, like we've always said. All right, with that, hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 coming up next. Drive Radio, which, by the way, if you missed today's episode at all, any of today's program, you can catch it tomorrow on Sunday, the entire program, 11 to 2, right here on KLZ 560. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 coming up next. Drive Radio, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com Email your questions and comments, download previous programs, and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that shopping a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com. Mobile Estate Planning with Michael Bailey, Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 during ATX. Ask the experts on KLZ 560.
Hi, this is Scott Watley, a Sportsman of Colorado. Join us every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Each week, we'll bring you local outfitters and experts on how to make your next outdoor adventure a success. Looking for a place to hunt and learn? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. And we'll also get you ready for the upcoming big game season. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HDW. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a corporate broadcasting God country station. USA Radio News with Chris Barnes. Mastermind of the Paris terror attacks last November in custody. French and Belgian officials say suspect Salah Abdeslam is wounded but alive after a police raid in Brussels. White House spokesman Josh Earnest say the U.S. is assisting France and Belgium in the ongoing Paris investigation.
We have shared with them a lot of information and expertise and taken other steps to protect our two countries.
A jury sides with Hulk Hogan in a sex tape lawsuit against entertainment website Blocker in a Florida courtroom. The jury returns the verdict, awarding Hogan $115 million in damages for posting a video of the wrestling legend with his friend's wife. Legal analyst Royal Oak saying of this verdict,
A sex tape, it involves such personal, intimate matters for a company to make money off of that and invade somebody's privacy. That probably led to this verdict.
This is USA Radio News.
Tales of American political history with Clinton reporter Hackney.
We've been talking about the birth of the White House and the role that George Washington played in it. Since the Residence Act of 1790 gave Washington enormous power over establishing the seat of government, including the president's residence, he took it seriously and spent much effort on the White House. He selected the architect and then oversaw the construction himself. He insisted on the details such as the stone to be used and ornamentations he liked. The stone he selected was susceptible to cracking in cold weather, but the stonemasons knew the problem and whitewashed the building to protect the stone, which gave it the name White House. Washington also got involved with hiring workers. European skilled workers were brought in because there weren't enough here, and he found African Americans, both enslaved and free, to provide raw labor. Join us around for Thomas Jefferson. This is Clinton Porter Hackney at cphackney.com.
KLZ Denver.
Join us during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would be correct nation time and beyond? 1855 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine. Careful Bell Incorporated.
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
The Chevy didn't make a 327 and 55. The 327 did come out to 62. And it wasn't often a Bel Air with a 4-barrel car to 64. However, In 1964, the correct ignition time in over 4 degrees before tactics.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give me a call, 403-477-5600. Now it's time to pop over and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, Dennis Brewster, with me on this fine Saturday morning. We had some snow yesterday that was upon us. I told everybody a couple of weeks ago, because I wasn't on last week, Dennis filled in for me. I told everybody the week prior to that, Dennis, don't take your snow tires off. I know it's really nice and warm outside, but don't be fooled.
Well, we were talking about that last week, too. We were saying winter's not over yet.
And it's not.
Just don't be fooled by this weather, because it was nice. It was gorgeous.
I picked the right weekend to move.
Yeah, you did.
This weekend.
Yeah, you did.
So that part worked out really well. We had really, really beautiful weather to move in. So that part I got lucky on. That worked out really well. All right, let's go right to the phones. We have one line open, 303-477-5600. Frank, you're up first. What's going on, sir?
I'm going to tell you about this GTX Magnatech oil. They have a little round thing on the 5-quart gallon and quart jug. It says fill me, and then one half is with GTX Magnatech molecules that cling to the engine. The first 20 minutes, how smooth. It's completely smooth. You feel the other side, and it's got a little raised, like lines in their surface. Without GTX Magnatech molecules, 4 times smoother service in engine testing. So they actually have a display. I bought a bunch of these, and I was surprised to find that thing was raised, and you could feel the actual difference. And I guess that's the clean molecules.
Supposedly, yep.
Start in the first 20 minutes, it claims, is where the worst wear and tear.
And that is true. The most of your wear and tear on an engine is a startup.
Oil in it, the 5W30, and I don't know about, have you ever had those Priuses, and if you check the oil, and you drove it around and it never heats up, you'll smell like the oil is just full of that gasoline that hasn't become vaporized or whatever you call it. I've done oil checking with my fingers and stuff and all that. I've used a little STP, but this GTX stuff does it. It's even smoothed out, and I keep using. I don't know that what the difference in oil is, but this is showing that it is engine testing. They showed the actual engine. So I told the stores, put a big display. They had those kits. I found it when they first came out, the kit.
So you're using the oil, Frank?
Yeah, I don't use any oil. I usually buy that STP when it's half price and put a little bit in, but not in the winter or something.
Use the BG product instead. It's a better product.
The BG.
Yeah, BG. Find that on our website. It's bgprod.com. Appreciate the phone call, Frank. Let's go to Lucas, who is next. Lucas, welcome.
Hi, guys. How you guys doing?
You're doing well, Lucas. Thanks for calling.
I just have a question. I'm house sitting, and these guys have a garage that they put some kind of flooring in that's pretty nice. And while I'm parked in the garage, I'm getting some leakage from underneath my car, and I was just curious on some kind of what would you recommend to keep the floor clean? Besides after I clean it, I'm going to put some cardboard down.
Right.
After that, but.
Right, so it's got a coating already on the concrete, so the concrete's got some sort of a paint or a sealer or an epoxy or something on it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, perfect. All you really need to do, and I've used this numerous times, believe it or not, some 409, and we'll scrub brush and some water, we'll clean that right off, no problem.
Okay, because I know you've had a shop, and I was just curious.
Yep. Now, that won't do as well on concrete that's not coated. Now we're talking a whole different ball game. But on coated concrete, where you've already got a surface epoxy paint, something like that, the 409, of course, you use it around the kitchen. You know it's not going to strip anything off. It won't take the paint off. You can use it on your walls, but it's a great, it's got betel in it. It's a great grease penetrator. It'll take it right off of there.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And typically, most every house has got a bottle of 409 kicking around somewhere. Simple Green will work also. Any of those cleaning type products, whether it be Simple Green, 409, whatever, those will work fine. Just take a paper towel, spray it right on the floor.
Give it a second or two.
Yeah, give it a few seconds to kind of, that's why I say take a little scrub brush, scrub around a little bit, Lucas, and then just take your paper towel and wipe it off, and you should be good to go.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, Lucas. Appreciate the phone call. We don't get too many cleanup calls like that. We surprised. We used to get more. Cars don't leak as much as they used to. I think it's part of the reason why, Dennis.
That's right.
They're sealed up better.
Yeah, they are.
Now, when it comes to concrete that's porous and you get an oil spot, we're talking a whole different ballgame. What it takes to get that.
I have some stuff. We have to use stuff on the accident scenes,
right?
And we get this stuff from Granger. It's really good stuff. It's a powder.
Right up. It's a powder, right?
Yeah, and you put it on there. It's a granulated stuff. It's better than sand. It's like a sand, but
it sucks it all up.
And then we sweep it back up, and then we filter it back through and reuse it.
That's exactly right. I used to use a similar product to that in the shop, so it works really well. Now that's for untreated. Now, if you're treated like Lucas was just saying, easy cleanup. Lines open, by the way, 303-477-5600. Dennis, you're next.
Hey, John.
Hey.
This morning.
How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Did I hear you escaped from Boulder?
I did.
Did you find the hole in the fence, or how did that happen?
Oh, I just finally... to be real honest, there's no sense in beating around the bush. I had enough appreciation in my place to... I kind of looked at it and felt like, the prices in Boulder just continue to go up and up and up. And are they going to peak out at some point? And if so, is that now? And is it time to capitalize on that and do something different? And so my wife and I discussed it, and we said, yep. And so there we did. That's how we did it.
Awesome. Good job. Hey, I wanted to talk to you guys. I know you got the weekday show, but I'm going to go after somebody at CDOT after yesterday morning's fiasco. It took me 2 hours to get to work on what normally is about a 20-minute drive.
It was bad yesterday, no doubt about that. Everywhere.
And in my opinion, whoever is running the plow program at CDOT is incompetent, because I work, various hours during the day and see these guys pull out of the yard and get right in the middle of rush hour, and then we can't figure out why traffic's at a standstill, instead of these guys getting out at 3 o'clock in the morning and getting the highways in drivable condition and getting the plows out of rush hour traffic.
Well, so let me explain yesterday a little bit, because we had similar situation being that we plow snow. We're out in it, and I had guys out that started at midnight, 1 in the morning, and watched it all through. The problem with yesterday, and I'm not defending CDOT because I don't know exactly how they run their program, but for us as private contractors, didn't really start sticking and having any measurable snow where you could actually plow anything until about 4:30 in the morning, and then it started snowing at about 1 inch plus per hour at about 4:30 in the morning. So when it starts to snow and stick at 4:30 to 5 o'clock, and then rush hour, of course, starts an hour later, it's difficult at best to work around all the things that are going on. Now, the other thing, though, that we do, and I don't know how CDOT handles this, but even though we knew we were going to have a little bit of wet weather on the front side, we still applied mag chloride on the front side of the storm, just because even though you get a little bit of moisture and may dilute that mag chloride, it's still enough there to where it helps some of that ice bonding, because all the mag does is it helps to keep the ice from bonding to the surface, to the pavement. That's what the mag chloride does. It's like spraying PAM on the roadways is essentially what it's doing. And I'm still one that says, even in a storm like what we had come through here yesterday, they still should have put some mag chloride down, and I'm guessing they didn't.
Oh, absolutely not.
I think if they had, it would have helped.
Was CDOT maintained Sheridan Boulevard to I-70, and it was an absolute skating rink everywhere.
No, it was. You're right. And the only place, and here's why I know this, you could see some of the municipalities, I should say, that actually use some mag chloride type products. You could drive, through them, and you were on like wet streets, and all of a sudden it would end, and it would be snowpack conditions again. I was like, wait a minute, how did I just go from a nice wet street to one that's now snowpacked? All of that has to do with the products they're using.
Well, and this was less snow on top of sheer ice. And it was unbelievable. And even then, coming home this morning, it snowed again a little bit.
Yeah, this morning.
Sheridan is an ice skating.
I don't think there was, no offense, there was not a plow truck out last night when it comes to I don't know this because I wasn't out in the middle of the night to see what CDOT was doing, but just from looking at conditions this morning, if some of the municipalities ran last night, I'd be surprised because I couldn't see any evidence that they'd been out at all.
I agree.
And now that's a mistake. Now, again, as a private contractor, we had several crews out last night running and checking all of our properties because we knew we had snow coming in. And here's the ironic thing about all of this. the guys that, Skyview Weather does my stuff personally. There's no secrets there. I talk about that on a daily basis. They sponsor and help us on our daily weather reports on Rush to Reason. So Skyview Weather does a great job. They supply the majority of the private contractors that are halfway large with weather reports on what's going on day to day. They do for me. They do for a lot of other people. I don't know who does CDOTs, but what I'm telling you is maybe they should switch to Skyview because we knew to be out last night.
There you go.
It's not that difficult.
No, it's not.
Great point, Dennis.
One of Dennis's other businesses along, because those guys do a great job at I-70.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. On the tow side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Dennis, appreciate it very much. And let me just say this. When I'm fighting traffic out, plowing snow, trying to get from one point to the next, it's not typically CDOT I'm mad at, although maybe I should start to be like Dennis is saying, because if CDOT did a better job and the municipalities did a better job, I could go from A to B better. My biggest typical complaint is the guy in the BMW 3 Series that can't drive that's stopping up traffic.
Yeah, we're dependent, it's a tough battle here. Yeah, because do you complain about the people not clearing the snow off, or do you complain about the people who can't drive in the snow?
And it's probably a combination of the two. In defense of Dennis, when we've had as many transplants come into the state as we've had, we don't have any choice but to keep the roads up and maintained, or you're just going to have gridlock every time it snows, because that's what we live in. And when I was a kid, Dennis, when you were a kid living here, Larry also, Dennis also, most of you listening are natives. When I was a kid, 16, 17 years of age, there wasn't hardly a plow truck that went around and did anything. CDOT would do the big major highways, and the municipalities would do some of the major thoroughfares, and that was about the extent of it. You weren't able to drive in it.
The neighborhoods didn't get done, and we had rear-wheel drive vehicles.
Yeah, I drove a 68 Buick Grand Sport. Most everywhere I went had studded snows on the back, and you just went out and got with it and made it happen. And you rarely had a snowplow out in front of you doing anything. You just learned how to drive in it.
Right.
Somehow we managed. Now, the problem today we've got is, with but a few exceptions, so make sure I don't say the wrong things here, but with just a few exceptions, people can't drive in the snow or wet weather, period. Coming home from the station Thursday night, just the wet weather, there's not any snow on the ground yet, just the wet weather alone had things so jammed up, it was ridiculous, because people just can't drive.
We get a half an inch or a quarter inch of water on the roads, rain or anything, we get accidents.
People can't drive. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I just, for the life of me, I cannot understand what happens when it rains or snows, and people's brains shut off, I guess. I don't know what else happens. They go into a different mode of, I can't drive.
Right.
Well, then stay home.
Right.
Call an Uber. Hop on the light rail like Charlie does. Do whatever you got to do, but stay off the road if you can't drive.
Right.
Then yet there's the opposite. I wanted to mention this before we go to break real quick. So I'm on my way down to the station today. Acme Towing and Recovery, which must be an out-of-state company, that was driving a black new Duramax dually hauling 3 Jeeps on the back. So some sort of a transport company. This guy was driving like an absolute maniac. Literally like a maniac. He was driving this dually with 3 Jeeps behind him like you would a Porsche sports car. And I'm not exaggerating in the least. He was weaving in and out of traffic, going around corners. I thought at one point the Jeeps were going to come off the top of this transport. How in the world they stayed on is beyond me. And that guy should have been off the road completely. And get this, driving with his hazards on.
Yeah, and
I don't get that.
Right.
Why is he driving with his hazards on?
We don't do that with our tow trucks. We're not supposed to drive with them because we're not an emergency vehicle.
Yeah, what's the guy doing? And I'm not joking. He was going down I-70, weaving through traffic with this 40-foot long trailer that's behind him with 3 Jeeps on top, and he's driving like a bat out of Hades.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out why. So you have both extremes.
Right.
It's like there's no happy medium here, folks.
Yeah.
That guy, if I could have caught him, I couldn't even drive fast enough to catch him because you'd had to be speeding to get him. The guy was driving about 80 miles an hour, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
If I could have gotten the cab of that truck,
yeah,
him and I would have had a little outs. Let's just say that. So Acme Towing and Recovery, anybody out there thinking about having them tow your vehicle around or transport your vehicle, think twice.
Right.
Don't use them.
Right.
terrible company as far as I'm concerned. I don't know who their driver is, if it's a lone wolf guy or what he is, but terrible. And if you're listening right now, shame on you.
Right.
Hopefully you are. If you are, call in and tell me why you're driving like a bat out of Hades. 313-477-5600. That's our phone number. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Drive Radio's coming at you. John Rush, Dennis Brewster, KLZ 560.
Wasn't Acme the company in the Walmart commercials? Yeah.
Sure. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternative for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you've tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue, West Arvada. Or visit us on the web at ArvadaWestAutoandTruck.com. 303-422-1065.
At Longtree Veterinary Medical Center, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. And because we know that your pet will have many different needs throughout its life, we offer complete pet care services. Whether your furry friend needs a checkup, vaccinations, boarding, grooming, obedience training, we are here for your pet 7 days a week. At Longtree Veterinary Medical Center, we know that you want the very best for your pet, which is why you can count on us for the latest in technology and methods in everything we do. We are certified with the highest rankings by the American Animal Hospital Association and hold a Gold Star rating with the Better Business Bureau. You and your pet can visit us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Moultrie. Learn more about us by visiting our website at MoultrieVet.com or give us a call at 303-708-8050. We believe that all pets deserve to have a good life.
The new gasoline direct injection engines, also known as GDI, are the hottest new improvement to horsepower and fuel efficiency in this century. Service professionals agree that GDI's unique power requires unique GDI maintenance. AG Products has the most current and effective GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops, and they back it up with a lifetime BG protection plan. Go to BGFindAShop.com. That's BGFindAShop.com. If you have a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Dirty oil is especially hard on your engine in winter. Do it yourself or stop at any Colorado Select Car Care Center, and they'll not only do it for you, they'll also give your car a quick safety inspection. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified.
Isn't there a PUC number on all those vehicles?
Exceptional customer service with a minimum a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
And Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, Dennis Brewster, KLZ 560. I should have called the State Patrol on the guy from Acme Recovery. That's the name of the company that I was watching this morning. Should have called State Patrol on him.
And now, your listeners, I just want to mention this. Now, you listeners, if you're listening, that's why John has Rush to Reason Monday through Friday.
So I can get on my soapbox.
Yeah, and he likes, I love the fact that you want to say what you want to say. We have the freedom of speech.
This guy today, when it comes to safety on the roads, was not safe.
But you can call in to everybody listening. You can call into the State Patrol.
Yeah, so how does that work, Dennis?
You just basically call in. They're going to ask you when you saw him, where you saw him, and things like that. And then you can also just tell them, I saw this driver doing this. This is the name of the truck. And they might go down and talk to him. If anybody else called in, that might be helpful because you might not be the only one calling in on him.
So what number do you know the number? I know there's like a pound something number you can call, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Do you know what it is?
I used to have it programmed on my phone, but I broke my phone.
Okay, I'm on the State Patrol's website. And
I thought it was pound CSP.
Is it pound CSP?
Let me look. I'm looking.
Okay. If someone out there listening can tell me what that number is, we'll put that on our Facebook page, get it out there, put it on the website, and we'll start talking about that more. In fact, maybe the State Patrol would like to do a little PSA on Drive Radio, and we just give that out on a regular basis.
Going on.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Because we should actually do that. We'll find out what that number is, and if you see somebody driving crazy, you should report it.
In my accident awareness class, we had that at our clinic. We had the gentleman come in from the State Patrol and talk to us.
Right.
We learned things. I mean, we learned that you can't flash your lights. You shouldn't flash your lights. You can get a ticket. We heard, you can't honk your horn if you're sitting at a light.
Right.
And the guy isn't going when the light turns green, or the lady, and you honk your horn. You can get a ticket for aggressive driving. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Do you remember him talking about that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did know that.
That's kind of like,
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, and so I got an email that came in. CDOT was out in force Thursday night and last night. The problem is the amount of snowfall from this storm is very inconsistent, which again I spoke about a moment ago also. You could have heavy snow in central Denver, very light snow to no snow in South Denver, taking into account the amount of taxpayer revenue that CDOT uses to take care of the roads and how much that pre-treatment costs, as well as the sand and paying the drivers and whatnot. If the forecast is not very certain, they may err on the side of caution to keep things toned down a bit in certain areas, and typically they will do that at the end of the season. So yes, Ryan, I would agree with you there. They will definitely do that at the end of the season. The costs add up, though. I'd imagine it could be nearly $1 million or more each storm that they spend on all the plows work and whatnot, and I would guess you're probably not far off in your comments there. I tend to side with CDOT most of the time. I believe they're indeed doing the best they can under the circumstances. Sometimes you just get a little unlucky. If anyone thinks they can do a better job at plow dispatching, then perhaps they should go apply with CDOT. I have no doubt that once they get involved in doing it, they'll realize just how complex that operation is, and they would do no better. And I tend to agree with what Ryan just wrote there. I talked about how we do things as a private contractor and so on. The only thing I will tell you is that particular storm, Ryan, we had enough forecasting even as a private contractor where we did apply a pre-product. We did have our guys out all night. I run plows from Fort Collins all the way down to Castle Pines. So we run a pretty large area, much like CDOT does. And yes, it was spotty in areas. But here's the deal in Colorado that we all know. Maybe some of the guys at CDOT don't know this right now. But we get snow, sometimes pretty good snow, in March, and you better be prepped for it. We're not out of the woods yet. Now, how they work their budget and all of that, I have no idea, and I will give Ryan some kudos. It is a very difficult job when it comes to dispatching snow removal, whether you're on the CDOT side or even the private side, so I get that.
Yep. John, I just looked it up. It is Star CSP.
Star CSP or 211?
277. Star 277.
Is it 277 or 211?
It says 277.
The caller said 211, so let's get it right.
It's right here.
Star CSP. Okay, so it is 277. So Star 277 or Star CSP.
And you can report an aggressive driver or you can report a drunk driver.
I'm going to tell Ryan here in this email, I'm going to give him back some kudos, great points, and he's right. And I know Dennis's frustration too, because I felt it yesterday trying to get from property to property. It was tough. It was a tough day yesterday. A lot of that, though, I will say, has a lot to do with how the actual snow fell, when it fell, all of that, and it makes it tough.
We get that.
No, I do. I fully understand that.
And Dennis, I just want to mention this. My tow service is more in Parker, South. We're not on I-70. That's extreme towing, and we're not extreme.
Yours is first class, right?
Yours is first class towing. And I appreciate it, though, because the drivers, I have a lot of respect for the tow drivers out there, but except for when they drive like you're talking about.
Yeah.
We don't tolerate that.
All right. Thank you. I'm glad you don't.
We won't.
303-477-5600. One reminder also, which I should mention, if you're listening on Sunday, which a lot of you do, you cannot call in. We appreciate you listening. We rebroadcast our Saturday show on Sundays. You can email us. Just go to drive-radio.com, send us a quick email. We'll get it answered even over the weekend. I answer as many of those as I can.
You can call in. Dylan's going to answer.
Yeah, that's true. You can. Nobody's not. You're not forcing you not to, but nobody's going to answer the phone.
Right.
So you can call. There's just no one home at that point.
Right.
But call us today. We've got lines open, 303-477-5600. Mike, you're next, sir.
Yeah. Hi, John. I'm just going to leave two other groups out of this. What I call the weather guessers, you call them weathermen.
That's a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear a word about this morning's snow. And I mean, sure, you've got the old folk in their Florida plates, slipping and sliding with their tires.
Yep.
But the overwhelming majority are the insane folk with Mr. and Mrs. Evil Knievel out there with their all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive going 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's both extremes. I saw that yesterday. You get one extreme or the other. Unfortunately for me yesterday, I think I was picking on the slow guy more than the fast guy because I saw more Beamers with Florida plates than I did anything else, but that was just me.
Yeah. You can run across all kinds, I guess.
Yeah, no, and you're right, and I've seen it. And like I said, today, I mean, and the roads were a little bit slick on I-70 this morning, so, I'm watching a guy with a big dually, truck with a transport trailer behind him with 3 Jeeps on it, driving like a stinking, maniac. I'm thinking, why are you doing that?
Right.
Yeah, like you said, or like my mother used to say, like, that's out of hell.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm just like, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had.
Good points, Mike. I appreciate it very much. Let's go to Chris, who is next in Denver. Chris, welcome, sir.
How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah, I just heard that last comment from the guy who said how slick it was, and the thing that the guys got to realize is it flash flows so quick on us, that our plow trucks, not only, they're designated to plow, say, I-70, but some of those trucks still have to maintain their plow Sheridan Kipling.
Right.
And it's just the accountability. Right now we're going through such a change with upper management who doesn't have a clue, what goes on in the field. And, they make all these changes and they don't work out. Well, there's no accountability from above.
Well, you got that right. So you must be a driver, a CDOT driver.
Yeah.
38 years.
Right on, Chris. Well, first of all, I appreciate what you guys do, and I'm in that business on the private side, so I knew exactly what some of you guys go through when it's, what do we do? Because you're only doing what somebody's telling you to do. You can't just hop in the plow and start plowing and doing stuff until somebody above you says, go do X, correct?
There's some guys that have been around long enough that know, if this road gets tied up, you go to another road. But our shift starts at 3 in the morning and runs till 3 in the afternoon, and we work 12-hour shifts.
Right.
But the upper management, for some reason, has started sending our trucks to the mountains because of the ski areas. Well, when you start sending people to the mountains, you're just cutting, areas short of people. Well, we've also taken on another stretch of road from on 470 from Santa Fe to I-25 with no extra people or no extra trucks, and try to maintain it or plow it at the level that we were doing before.
You cannot do it. And I know as a private contractor, when I have a contract that I take on mid-year, let's say, if I don't have enough extra resources to take on that contract, I'm taking something away someplace else to make that work. What you're saying is that's exactly what's happened with CDOT.
That's what the upper management is doing to the maintenance people in CDOT.
That's not going to work, Chris.
Well, it never has, but you can never get, like I say, an accountability from people above. You hear that Celine was on another radio show yesterday. He's a slick Willie. He can go on and on about this stuff. But the funny thing is they repaved the parking lot down there at Arkansas, the main building. Well, the striping should be 9 feet between the lanes. Well, they cut it down below 8 feet between lanes, and people can hardly park their car in there.
Right.
And they can't understand what's going on, but it's just, ridiculous. And the reason why we don't really pre-treat on our roads, because there was an accident involving a Channel 7 news vehicle that is down on the Arapahoe Road where they pre-treated. Well, the guy slid through the intersection and caused an accident. So that's why we've gotten away from the pre-treat.
Really? You're kidding me?
Yes.
Because of that accident, CDOT then backed off of pre-treatment because some knucklehead weatherman or some knucklehead news reporter that's driving the van can't drive?
Yep.
That's ridiculous. You got me going on the Daily Show now. I got to do some more research here and get to digging in this, because this is really, really good information, Chris. Because I wondered in this last storm, I wondered why there wasn't more pre-treatment put down. I realized there was some wet weather coming in first, and it always makes it tough on pre-treatment because it can wash it off, and I get that, and it's expensive per lane mile to put down. But man, I think in this time of the year, you've got to err on the side of caution and put some of that down, just so you don't have the mess we had yesterday morning.
Well, the thing with, about with the chemicals is if you're not back around to reapply it, it gets worse.
Right.
But the bad thing about it is, they could have pre-treated, watch the gallons that they're applying it.
Right.
And they could have done some of the bridges, which gives you a little more time.
That's right.
Before the freeze.
That's exactly right.
But, right now, if we get caught in traffic, we're screwed.
Yeah, you're done.
It doesn't matter.
You're just like my guy. No, you and I are in the same boat. When traffic gets heavy like it did yesterday, and I can't get my guy from one place to another, it's exactly what's going on with you.
It just makes the whole thing worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
it's terrible and stuff, and people don't realize, a lot of the drivers, but, it's just like any other state job is the accountability to the employees. There's some guys, I'm saying there's 90% of the people are really great guys and whatever. It's the 10% that are, that aren't, and stuff. And they're sitting in the sheds, they're not doing their job, stuff like that. Well, once they get a state job, you can't get rid of them.
Well, I tell you what, you've opened up some things for me that we will dive into this next week, and I appreciate this phone call very much, Chris, and I know our listeners do too. Thank you for calling in.
Well, I think if you could get Amy Ford or that Shalene on your afternoon show to see if he's got the, to come on your show, we'll do these type of questions.
Yeah, because he's talking to somebody that knows a little bit about this versus, I know the other show that he was on, no offense, but the person he was talking to knows nothing about snow removal. I do.
Yeah. Well, I don't think this guy does either. His big thing is the new driverless cars. He's into the new waves.
Oh, jeez, who cares?
Yeah, seriously, and stuff. But
that's and by the way, that's coming, but it's many years off. It's not here yet. Right now, we got to deal with what's in front of us.
And they got a lot of things to deal with along.
A lot of things to deal with driverless
cars. Just the other cars that are not.
That's right. A lot of things to figure out there. That is the least of our worries right now, as far as I'm concerned.
But who's going to be able to afford those cars? It's not going to be the people that are on the road now.
That's true.
And stuff like that.
That's why I say they're going to have to figure out what are they going to do with the cars they can't.
No, well, I tell you what, I'll give you my theory on that when we come back. So hang tight, Chris. Listen up. I'll give you my answer of how they're going to work some of that in. So listen up. I'm right.
Yeah, I'll get off the line and just listen.
You're a good man, Chris. I appreciate the phone call very much. That was awesome. An actual CDOT driver calling us, giving us the inside skinny as to what's happening at CDOT. Thanks. So really what's happening at CDOT is they've taken on more roads. They're sending plows up into the mountains. There's less resources in town.
You know why they're doing that is because it's
revenue
vacation weekend.
So it's
spring break, and so everybody's going to understand. Let's keep
That's what happened. So there's some of your answers. So Dennis and Ryan both. Ryan, you had some good points with CDOT. Dennis, you just heard the real skinny. I think Ryan, you did too. There's some of your answers on what happened yesterday morning. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're Drive Radio. Lines open 303-477-5600. KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio. I think he was on with Mandy yesterday. He called and said, let me tell you what's going on inside.
This week with your BG Tech Tip.
This week, we're going to talk about fuel system cleaners. If you walk into any parts store and look at the fuel cleaner selection, you might become immediately overwhelmed.
Tell me the topic again, because there were two different things.
Selections available, all wonderfully designed with labels whose goal is to incite a immediate purchasing decision. So how are you supposed to know if you need one?
He said,
if you need one, which one do you need? Well, let's start at the beginning.
Limitations on funding, meaning fluctuating federal funding coming in from year to year and having to try to prioritize expenses in setting up the new
in retail forms. These
headquarters down there
on a number of different brands, and most gasoline stations will.
I think it was research and development and studies is eating up a lot of the money because they do all those consultations with so many groups. They hire consultants to study traffic flows and study this and study that, and
homeless cars and this and all the other stuff. You know, they have millions out in future research. Yeah.
Modern engines.
Yeah, just tell them your perspective and where you're coming from, and I think you'd be very interested.
Always need some type of fuel system cleanup.
So that leaves the question of which one should I buy? With so many choices to select from, as with anything on your car, you should follow the advice of the technician who knows your car and services your car on a regular basis. As a general rule, you'll find the less expensive cleaners are alcohol-based and will provide significantly less effective cleanup of the hard carbon deposits in the fuel system. The best cleaners will contain a polyetheramine designed to clean and emulsify fuel system deposits. Oftentimes, one can simply follow the old adage of, you get what you pay for. Our recommendation for most port fuel-injected engines is to use a polyetheramine-based cleaner at least every 15,000 miles. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG Products. We'll talk to you again next week.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you've tried another shop and you still have the same.
Who paid for that $24 million bike path? Was that CDOT?
Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada. Or visit us on the web at arvadawestauto.com. 303-422-1065.
Literally that dollar amount I fell over.
Geno's with a J is your
For
go-to auto
bicycles.
service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium
I don't know.
$29.95 oil change and receive a
When I was-
windshield wipers with the
When I was a kid, 50 years ago, we had to buy a bicycle license. And that money went to stuff like that.
Offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Flat Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 90 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking.
Downtown, they're terrible. They gave them their own lane, and they won't go in it. They go everywhere but in that lane.
From the bacteria-killing surface.
It's not just the cars, it's everybody.
Our drive-along belt controls to our revolutionary new adaptable brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. And you don't get this at your average auto parts store. But at Napa, I've spent the last 80 years making sure we're anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com.
Back in 1 minute.
Get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska. No place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing. But most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility. And they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight...
I think once a month I should try to nominate somebody from an agency, like someone from the State Patrol, somebody from CDOT, somebody from the Greenways bicycle people.
Nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive. The truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance.
Coming back in 10.
Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair. The Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right. John Rush, Dennis Foster, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Did you hear, Larry? We're going to get management courses on
management. And start talking about drivers and such. So my theory on driverless cars. So you could get as many different studies out there as you want and pay all sorts of dollars, and all you have to do is come see me. I'll give you the answer on how you make this work. This is how this will happen.
I want to hear your opinion because I got mine.
Whether you like driverless cars or not, they will come. Just like all the other technology we've seen out there, they will come. How will it happen? One step at a time. What will happen first is they will create lanes, specific lanes across here in Denver, for example. They'll take, 270, 225, I-25, US 36, and 470, and they will designate a particular lane for a driverless car. And they will allow only those cars to drive in that lane initially, and then as time goes by and more of those cars end up on the road, and they'll put incentives. So they'll put a special lane in where a driverless car will be able to travel faster in rush hour traffic, get you places, and so on. And what will happen is as time goes by and more driverless cars are sold, they'll expand that lane usage to the point where, maybe not in my lifetime, but at some point in time, you will have to have a driverless car to drive on any major highway in any major city, period. Otherwise, you'll be on the side streets. Yeah. That's my prediction.
But other than that, even when they put those lanes in, there's going to be a lot of accidents because there will be somebody.
No, they won't let them in. They won't allow those other cars in.
Unless they put a concrete block.
That's what I'm saying. They will designate those. They'll designate those lanes for driverless cars only. Nobody else will be allowed in those lanes.
Maybe that's what they've already done with E470. And some of the things.
Could be.
Like if you go down I-25, you jump into that thing and.
Well, and that's what that'll be the look. So the HOV lane that you're talking about now, that'll be some of the look and feel of what my feeling of driverless car lanes will be like at some point. Because at some point, what will happen is you'll hail a car. You'll never own a car 50 years from now. Unless you want to own your old classic car, you could just go drive on some side roads. You will not own a car. You will buy time on a car. You will hail a car. It will come. It will pick you up. It will take you wherever you need to go. You'll get done with whatever you need to do, and you'll hail another car to take you to the next stop or take you home or whatever, and you'll not own a car.
It will all be owned by the government.
Most likely.
At this point.
Most likely. Now, that's my prediction. I may be wrong in that. Jerry, you're next.
Hi. I've got a couple of questions. One is about calling Star CSP.
Yes.
And, we've all probably seen instances where that would be great to try to get an officer on scene real quick to pull somebody over that's driving crazy. But I'm curious. I don't know if an officer doesn't respond and witness some crazy driving themselves, are there any legal repercussions that could possibly stem from that? And so I'm curious. Let's say, for example, if I get in a disagreement with a coworker and he's a malicious person and he calls in a phony report and says I'm driving crazy when I'm really not, are there is it going to affect my insurance or, be used wrongly?
No, I think they have to quantify that that's actually a real situation. And we're going to get someone on from CSP to find these answers out, to be honest with you.
And I'm guessing typically what happens in that case too, Jerry, is like the incident that I saw this morning. Most likely they'll end up with more than one report on somebody driving erratically. They then take the combination of those different call-ins and say, okay, yep, we're going to go out there, pull this person over if we can find them. We'll ask some questions. Here's something I do know. The last ticket I ever received, which had been a long, long, long time ago, there was not really even a provable accident, but somebody reported that I had actually run into them. Officer came to my front door, handed me a ticket for something that happened about 8 hours prior. No witnesses other than the other driver saying I ran into them. I still got the ticket. Go figure.
So you had to go to court to prove your innocence?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I lost.
You lost?
Yes.
Good Lord.
Yes, it was a joke. I lost. I learned at that point in time there's no sense fighting some of that stuff because you're going to lose.
Wow.
So the one I did call in one time, I was going down a road that was a one lane each way. And I was like 5 cars back. And a guy went to pass this guy because he was going really slow. And as he went to pass him, the guy sped up. And then another car was coming at him, so he had to get back in lane. So he tried to get back in the lane, and the guy slowed down, so he couldn't. He blocked him from getting back in the lane. And when I called in, I was one of 5 people who called in. And they wound up going to the guy's house because they couldn't catch him. They didn't find him. They went to his house and talked to him. I never seen him again. I never seen him on the road again. And I seen him almost every morning for a long time.
Really?
So, yeah. I don't know what happened.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at any rate, Jerry, no, I don't think you'd have any adverse effect on your side of the fence, and I doubt very seriously if you're going to be the guy that's ever in that position anyways. And typically, you could go back at that point to an officer and say, listen, I've had scuffle in the past. Here's some of the things that have happened. This is just somebody that doesn't like me. And again, Jerry, I think these guys are going to look at things. We'll get them on air with us for sure. But these guys are going to look at things and say, all right, how many times has this been reported? A one-time call-in, I don't think is going to do it. They're going to need multiple indicators of what's going on of somebody driving erratically.
Well, I would assume and hope that due process and the right to confront your accuser and all that would not be thrown in the wastebasket.
Let's hope so.
I bet you when this first started, they had these kind of things like John's talking about. I bet you they found ways to fix it, to make it better.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
What's your other question, Jerry?
Well, I had called in quite a while ago and trying to find out about the crossovers between opposing lanes on divided highways and about the legality of using those. And I'm not talking about the ones that are marked for emergency vehicles only, but the ones that are not marked. And it took quite a lot of phone calls, but I eventually found out that, yes, those are perfectly legal to use. Yes. That's what they're put in for.
That's right. As long as it says you cannot use them, they're usable.
Right. Well, so what I've noticed lately is a trend up here in Weld County where, because of my work hours, I'm commuting late at night quite often, and I see whether it's state troopers or highway patrol or Greeley police, I see law enforcement using those things to run speed traps. They'll park right in the middle of one of those crossovers with their lights completely out.
Oh, yeah.
So if somebody were to try to use one, they'd plow into the officer parked there with his lights out.
Yep.
And I have to assume that's really illegal.
I've seen that too. That's a great question because I didn't think they were allowed to park without having their park lights on.
That would be a good one to ask the state trooper.
Let's do that. Put that on your list, Dennis, and we'll get that asked. Jerry, I got to run to a break. I appreciate the phone call very much. Let's take our last break of this hour. We'll be right back. Couple lines open, 303-477-5600. Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, along with Dennis Brewster from Extreme. We'll be right back.
Just had a caller asking how to find you on your video, live video. I'm not sure what to tell him.
Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have AS.
It's just Drive Radio.
Find that right part. One covered by a warranty at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaAutoline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get them good stuff.
Will alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Aletta West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all four wheels of the vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Aletta West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at AlvatoWestAutoandTruck.com.
Hey Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
The new gasoline direct injection engines, also known as GDI, are the hottest new improvement to horsepower and fuel efficiency in this century. Service professionals agree that GDI's unique power and maintenance. AG Products has the most current and effective GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops, and they back it up with a lifetime VG protection plan. Go to VGFindAShop.com.
Coming back in 5.
FindAShop.com. If you have a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters.
All right, Drive Radio, John Rush, host, Dennis Brewster with you also. And we don't mention this enough, but we are also on YouTube. We broadcast the shows live when I'm here, because it's hard for these guys to do when I'm not here. But when I'm here, which is about, 80% of the time or so, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, most of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
A lot of the time.
Let's just say this.
I've been here a lot.
Almost every show that I do, we broadcast it on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com and just type in Drive Radio, all one word, or you can go right to our homepage at drive-radio.com. Just click on the listen live, and when you click on that, the YouTube channel pops up, and you can see us that way. So if you want to see what we look like in studio, not sure you want to do that, but
well, some of us look pretty good.
A face for radio.
Yeah. It isn't hard for us to do it. It's just hard because he has the equipment.
Yeah, exactly. It's not technically challenging. It's just I've got all the stuff to do it. So Joe is up next. Joe, welcome. What's going on, sir?
I'm my 1998 Pontiac G6. And when I turn the corner every once in a while, it feels like something slips, and the only drive's fine. I'd like to put new tires on the car, but I'm afraid to do that until I get that figured out.
Is it in the steering or is it in the transmission? What do you feel slipping?
It feels like it's in the steering.
What in 98? It's probably got a bad rack and pinion. I don't know that for sure. I'd have to, somebody would have to diagnose that for sure and look at it. Does it change with temperature? In other words, if the car's warmed up or cooler, does it make any difference?
Ooh, I never thought to think of to do that.
In other words, is it worse when it's cold or is it worse when it's hot?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I never thought to check that, though. What about if I jack it up and check does it have ball joints on those still?
It does, but you won't be able to check them by jacking up. You need to load the ball joint or load the suspension and then check the ball joint.
That's why when you say it's slipping, when you're talking about slipping, I don't know if a ball joint will give you a slipping, it'll give you more of a thump.
Those were well known for having what we call, steering rack problems. There was actually a name for them back in the day.
Think of it because especially when it was cold.
Morning sickness, they called it.
When you got up in the morning and you got in the car and you started to go, you'd feel it almost bind.
General Motors called it morning sickness back in those days, and it very easily could have a bad rack and pinion.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's so fair. It's just got under 100,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, that's something. If it is acting up, and it is only when it's cold, have somebody look at it when it's cold. Drop it off the night before. Have them check it out the next morning. Not a problem. That's easy enough to inspect and figure out, Joe.
Well, I built this tank, and I put a vacuum on it, and it has a hose that goes up to the wherever fluid you want to remove from.
Okay.
And I removed the fluid from my power steering.
Okay, good.
It changed it out 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times before it quit kind of making that power steering noise.
Okay.
And I've done it once again because it just looked burned.
One other thing you could also try in addition to that, BG makes a great power steering fluid conditioner that would actually potentially help that morning sickness. You could put a can of that in it and see if that will help it also the next time you do that. Okay, and just try that.
Yes.
All right, with that, Joe, I got to run. We got other calls before the top of the hour. Craig, you're next. What can I do for you?
If you gentlemen could possibly get a member of maybe the State Patrol on your show sometime to answer questions. And one thing that concerns me, I think maybe their emphasis when I see them out is maybe too much emphasis on speed enforcement as opposed to being visibly driving amongst, drivers, witnessing, the aggressive driving, the excessive lane changing, and making a right-hand exit from the left lane all in one motion, cutting off, 3 people all in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I would be a proponent of that. I think if you're trying to end up with safer roads, that's a better way of doing it than actually, stopping people for speeding. Here's the caveat, though, and I don't know if an officer would actually tell us this, but I will. The revenue is less with the model you're talking about.
Right.
Well, depending on, how they want to
penalize people on their points.
But here's the reality is, if that guy's on the road driving with us, most people are going to be more well-behaved than they would be if he's parked someplace catching speeders go by. That's my point.
Well, in an unmarked vehicle, maybe not so much.
True.
In a well-marked state patrol vehicle, they're pretty visible. But I drive about 400 miles round trip to and from work, and I drive the rural areas. I see them out in Elbert County. I see them, on I-70 east of the airport, but I never see them in the congested part of Denver where the dangerous things are occurring.
Great point.
Tailgating.
Yeah, you're right. There's probably more accidents, more fatalities, more problems here locally inside the metro area than there is out on some of the rural areas. I don't know that for a fact. We'll get the State Patrol on. Dennis has got a contact there. We definitely will get the State Patrol on here in the near future and ask some of those questions. And I like your idea, Craig. We'll just get them on where people can call in and ask some questions. So, Craig, thanks so much for the phone call. I appreciate it very much. With that, Paul, hang tight with us. We'll get you as soon as we come right back on the third hour of Drive Radio. We've got to take a real quick news break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere because it's John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Drive Radio, Hour 3 coming next right here on KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Join us during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Hi, this is Scott Watley with Sportsman of Colorado. Join us every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Each week, we'll bring you local outfitters and experts on how to make your next outdoor adventure a success. Looking for a place to hunt on your own? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. And we'll also get you ready for the upcoming big game season. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
On the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis, we turn our attention to the homeless problem in Denver with our guest Alexa Gagne from the Denver Rescue Mission. What are the root causes of homelessness, and what can you and I do to help those who are in legitimate need? We'll go in depth beginning at 6 a.m. on the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis.
Can the Colorado GOP actually unseat Congresswoman Diana DeGette? John Rush here, and on the next Rush to Reason, the man who's attempting to take back Colorado's U.S. House District 1 from the Dems, Casper Stockham, with his plan on how to overthrow this 19-year progressive incumbent. Traffic and weather updates with Dan Muir, and of course, we'll take all of your calls and more. That's Denver's Afternoon Rush, Rush to Reason, every weekday from 3 to 7 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560. USA Radio News with Melody Burkett.
North Carolina's Senator Tom Tass uses this week's GOP address to defend the decision of Republican leaders to ignore President Obama's nominee for the Supreme Court. Tass calls this decision giving the American people a voice and says the Senate is doing its job.
The Senate is doing its job and fulfilling its constitutional obligation by deferring consent in order to let the people's voice be heard.
Tass says Democrats are seeking to divide the nation by turning the nomination of a Supreme Court justice into a partisan process. All 62 people on board a passenger jet from Dubai were killed when the plane went down in southern Russia early today. Officials say the Boeing 737 airliner crashed and burst into flames while attempting to land in bad weather. Most of the passengers were Russian. Vladimir Putin is ordering assistance to the relatives of the crash victims. This is USA Radio News.
Remember when a small business needed a landline? Today, landlines are a thing of the past. With Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. On the road, at the beach, or at home, Grasshopper helps you grow your business. Get all the features of a business phone system and the freedom of a cell phone with our iPhone and Android apps. Features include multiple extensions for your team, calls forwarded to your mobile phones, voicemails transcribed and emailed, and so much more. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
And now, a touching moment while staying in touch with Geico.
It was a warm summer day. I was just sitting on the porch watching a babbling brook roll by. Then, out of the blue, I got an update from my Geico app saying my claim had been processed. I felt so connected to nature, to Geico. I stayed there the whole afternoon until that guy told me to stop trespassing on his porch. Sheesh, what was his problem?
Claim status updates just a few taps away on the Geico app.
KLZ done. Join us during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Right, fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 60, 7.5. It's a quarter mile, 13.4. 390 horsepower. 500 pounds. Performance is what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call.
He's out. He's in Dallas, I think. Yeah. No, it's a tip show.
By the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
This is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. Dennis Brewster from Extreme Auto Repair. Extreme is out in Parker, 10274 South Dransfeld Road in Parker. Dennis, what's your phone number if people want to get a hold of you?
303-841-1071.
1071.
Yep, it's easy.
And I have that one memorized. Do you? You and Larry's both.
Yep. Real quick, can I say something?
Yes.
We're collecting food for the Parker Task Force. Our Rotary Club is at the Stroh Ranch in King Supers. Please go over there, donate some food. It all goes for a good cause. It helps people.
Almost in Parker.
It does.
Right on. Appreciate that very much. All right, let's go right up to the Denver Auto Show real quick. Richard Rush, my son, is out there walking around the show. We were there on press day. Richard, anything else going on, and what's the crowd like?
Well, not too much. That crowd is actually one of the busiest auto shows I've seen in years here. There's a lot of people. The line actually is kind of starting to wind down. If those that know the convention center, winding down the walkway that kind of takes you to the rest of the convention center. That's how backed up it is. Doesn't take too long to get in though. I believe it's at $12 for adults, 12 and older, and then it's $9 for kids. And there's a lot of people here, a lot of exhibits. They've got the full Jeep experience kind of there for kids. They have a lot of different activities and such going on, but there are a lot of people down here and a lot of cool cars.
So what's the, we talked earlier in the week and went down and saw some of the new vehicles, the press conferences. Well, I was telling people earlier, for you and I, we had a chance more just to go to all the press conferences, listen to the particular vehicles that they want to highlight. But now that you're there and you've had a chance to walk around, any other cool things we didn't get a chance to see on Wednesday?
Yeah, there's just kind of being able to get into the cars, and there's, I guess, one of the cool things, we're only about halfway through right now, is that Fiat actually has that blue little convertible car that we saw. I figured that was just more of a concept vehicle, but that's the vehicle you can actually purchase for under $30,000. So that was something that was pretty cool, and actually getting to see what's available in some of these cars. And I would encourage people to, you and I talk about on air a lot, some of these vehicles that we talk about and making comebacks, and I'm standing in a Kia booth right now, actually, and Kia being one of those. Definitely get out, and if you're curious about a car, you can actually tell quite a bit about the quality of it just by opening and closing the door on a car, sitting in it, having your family and your kids. And honestly, this is a good time to where, if you're nothing against manufacturers, but if your kids do scratch the car, you don't have to pay for it.
That's true. That's true. Well, plus the fact they've got all the different cars that are there. So if you want to see what we talk about this on YouTube on our videos all the time that Richard and I do, if you really want to know how your family's going to fit in the vehicle, you've got to get in the vehicle to figure it out. The auto show is a great place to do that because you can get in each manufacturer's vehicle. So if you want to fit in the average five passenger SUV versus a CUV versus a big wagon versus a minivan, everything is there today to do at the same time.
Absolutely. There's a plethora of cars here. All the manufacturers have reps here to answer questions, even more so than we can. So if I would encourage you, if you're even slightly interested in the vehicle, to get out and just see if it would work for you, because the best way to do it is actually to get in it. You don't even have to drive it. You don't have to give a commitment to it. You can literally hop in any number of vehicles here and see if that car is for you. And even if you're not in the market for a new car, it's a fun afternoon. We were kind of talking. It's a fun way to kill 2 hours. There's plenty of seating areas and charging areas around here. They've really enhanced the experience, even over the years since you and I have been going the past 5 or 6 years. It's really becoming a lot bigger. And honestly, the only way that it's going to continue to become bigger and even become more mainstream is for people to come down here and test out the vehicles and fit in and bring a lot of people through the doors.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Richard just brought up a great point. We are not one of the bigger auto show markets on the circuit. In fact, we're a very, we're a category 2 or 3 when it comes to actual auto shows. It would be nice to have enough interest here to see that place even larger than it is and get up to where you're you're the level of a Chicago show or even an LA show. LA being smaller than Chicago, but it would be nice to be considered on the bigger market scene. I know, Richard, for us in particular, those of us even in Denver, that would be a nice thing to do. The way we do that is getting more attendance out.
Absolutely. Get everyone through the doors. Even again, it's pretty cheap entertainment when you consider going to a movie or whatever it is, that you can be active, you can walk around, you can see new and innovative vehicles that are out on the roads today. And honestly, it's just a blast. It's a fun time to kind of walk around, check out all the cars, and again, just kind of encourage people. I believe the show runs at 10 till, I had it in my pocket, 10 till 9 tonight, I believe. And then tomorrow, I believe it's one of their shorter days, with it being a Sunday. But yes, I believe it is 6 o'clock tomorrow. So again, encourage everyone to get out here. They have manufacturers. I believe Hyundai has a little racer that you can hop into. Ford has a racer. So there's all sorts of stuff. Volkswagen has a paint booth, so you can paint the car different colors. So lots of cool activities for everyone here at the 2016 Denver Auto Show.
The other thing I didn't mention earlier, which you just reminded me of, is for those of you that are Ford lovers out there that want to see what the new F-250, 350, 450 looks like. So 250, 350, 450. There's a 450 crew cab dually parked in the Ford booth. It's their all new aluminum. Just like an F-150, only it's the heavy-duty series. You can actually get in that truck. Well, Richard, are they letting you sit in it? We were able to sit in it, but can you sit in as a public?
They are not. There's several cars like that fortunately you and I get to have access to on press day. But you can still see them. They have the doors open. You can see what it's going to look like. They have several prototype vehicles here that they don't really advertise, but they do have. They've got a lot of different cars here, and Denver, surprisingly, is big, in the truck market. Not surprisingly, really, really big in the truck market.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of cool trucks here.
Awesome.
Again, walking through, it's just absolutely fantastic. There's a flavor for everyone. That's for
awesome.
Sure.
All right, well, have fun, enjoy it, and thanks for calling in, Richard.
Yeah, you're welcome. Talk to you.
All right, appreciate it. And that's my son, Richard Rush. He helps me with all of our YouTube videos, and he helps me out on press day when we go there. We do a little filming and some interviews, and again, like in that particular case, got to sit inside the new F-250. It's a pretty cool truck, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, though. It's like you're saying, if now's the time to be down there, because you don't have to go to dealership to dealership.
That's right.
One place, and just go around, put your butt in the seat.
That's right.
Find out what fits you.
Way to say it. Let's do it this way. Paul, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Tim Rackley's crew over at Tune Tech. I had taken my ancient 1993 Grand Cherokee in for an emissions test, and she failed by a full point on the NOx 2 test. And took it over to Ken, and those guys tested her and said, well, that catalytic converter is gone.
Got it.
They popped the new one in there, and she's under 0.6 or 7, you know. But the other question I really had was, we've been battling for better than a year some kind of random electrical issue. Some days I can get in it and it will pop an ABS light and a seatbelt light. And then periodically even the seatbelt chime will go off and then it'll turn itself off. And I was looking through my factory manual and there is some module called a body control module. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really define what does this thing do.
It controls a lot of things inside of the vehicle itself. Everything in your particular case, it controls some of the lighting. It controls some of the interior features. The little light up display thing that's at the very bottom of the dash in the center stack. Everything that's being shown in there is controlled with that module.
So the other issue when Tintec was testing a Jeep the other day, they were not actually able to communicate, at least to the level he wanted to the main engine control module or computer.
Could be.
Even though it runs fine.
Yeah, on a 93, that's very, very likely. That's very possible.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Yeah, it's a dumb computer, if you want to say it that way. OBD1 doesn't have a lot of information coming out of it, and even with the information coming out of it, a lot of times it was very limited, and even there, the communication that would go back and forth at times, let's just say this, didn't always work properly. Is that the right way to say that, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, doesn't mean that, real quick, doesn't mean the computer is bad. They just didn't communicate very effectively sometimes.
That's normal.
Yeah.
That sometimes could be normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Understand. So even though they've gone through this trying to figure out what's going on with these different sensors, and like I said, the ABS and the seatbelt light, that's it. No check engine light, no because nothing.
And I believe in that case, I'd have to go back and look through a manual to determine if I'm correct, but I think the body control module controls the two things you're talking about. I'm pretty sure.
Some kind of feedback.
Yes, and/or controls them. I believe it controls them, if I'm not mistaken. So you could have a bad body control module causing some of those things. The problem with that vehicle is finding a good known module to put in that car that you're not going to spend an arm and a leg on. In other words, not exceeding the value of the car and the cost of the body control module. That's the problem with your model car, your car.
That's why you want to make sure, if you're diagnosing it as that body control module, that you're right on the money. You have to get that car to act up when it's doing it.
Or you just live with it, and in your case, you wait until you're ready to replace it, and which you're getting close to anyways, and you just don't worry about it.
Well, here's my only concern with that. I'm about to start using it. It's essentially my secondary vehicle.
Got it.
But it's going to be getting towed behind another vehicle, and that's been pre-wired to make sure that the turn signals work.
All right.
And any of the auxiliary lighting.
Right.
I just don't.
What transfer? Okay, real quick has somebody looked at the vehicle to make sure that it can be? Are you going to flat tow it behind something? I assume.
Yes.
Have you checked to make sure that you've got the correct drivetrain where it can be flat towed? Because not all those Jeeps could be flat towed.
Yeah, it's the old Command Track MP231.
Okay, you're okay with that. Okay, you're fine with that because not all those had that. So if it didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to flat tow it. So good. I'm glad you did that. Okay, good. You're in good shape then. Okay, you're fine.
Put everybody in neutral. Yep. Make sure the steering wheel's unlocked.
Yep.
And
you're good.
Then go. Okay.
Yeah, you should be good. You should be fine. All right, Paul, appreciate the phone call very much. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. We may get into some of the winter beater cars if we have time today, Dennis. If not, we can cover them next week. But I've got a few on this list that I'm not sure I own. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great products we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary adaptive wind brakes, and every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we're not anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad and C-Store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance, Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Falls and Flat Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
In a refrigerator or accident, you need to get your car repaired quickly by top-notch experts that know your car. Don't mess around with the cumbersome National Auto Body chain. We have no idea as to who is working on your car. Kinder Collision Experts is a locally owned auto collision repair facility that will give you that personal touch you deserve. I'll help you deal with your insurance company and get you back on the road quickly without skipping on policy. Kinder Collision Experts are just as experts in auto body repair. Call Kinder Collision Experts today at 303-761-0955, 303-761-0955, or check them out at kindercollision.com. Be sure to tell them Drive Radio sent you. At Nevada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Nevada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. Coming back at NevadaWestAutoandTruck.com.
All right, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Drive Radio, every Saturday, 10 to 1, and on Sundays, same station, only 11 to 2. And if you're listening on a Sunday, you can call, but there's not going to be anybody here to answer your question. So if it's a Sunday afternoon and you're trying to call in, nobody's answering, that's why, because nobody mans the phones on Sundays. You can email us a question. Just send it to john@drive-radio.com or go to our website, which has, by the way, all of our member shops, all of our sponsors. Everybody is listed there. We've got a lot of great partners for Drive Radio. We encourage you to use each and every one of them. Tell them you hear them on Drive Radio if you would. That helps us out immensely. And you can find that, again, at drive-radio.com. Ryan is next. What's going on, sir?
Sean, we've been playing you outside today.
Yeah, we have. What's going on, man?
Yeah, but thank you for the response.
Oh, you're welcome. I do as much multitasking as I can.
You've gotten quite good at it. I'm jealous. Hey, I'm calling in because I had a wonderful experience yesterday with Ray and his team down at Four Seasons.
Awesome.
I ended up going out to look at a new truck. I shouldn't say new, it's a used truck. Right. 2012 our Silverado Duramax. I've been wanting to get back into one, and I kind of kept me up to date with what I've been doing with that. Right. Yep. Anyways, so the dealership, dealers that I went to, they let me take the truck, stop by on my test drive over at Ray's place, and they were able to get me in for a free purchase inspection right away.
Awesome.
I had a chance to meet Ray for the first time as well as his team, and I love him to death.
Awesome.
You know, I go to Dennis, he knows I'm loyal to him, but up there at Extreme, but Ray and Four Seasons, I'll tell you what, you folks out there in that area, in Lakewood, what have you, you guys, if you've not been to Ray's shop yet, you really need to get by there and say hi to Ray and have a chance to meet with him. They found they did the pre-purchase inspection in just a matter of minutes, about an hour, but at the same time, they did a thorough job. The report I got back was favorable. I appreciate the detail that they went into on that.
Awesome.
So thanks to Ray, and then I also want to shoot the thanks out to Dennis. I have my mother's piece of jerk Santa Fe
out to Dennis's place, they replaced, they did some work on that as well. As always, they did a great job.
Awesome.
So thanks, Dennis, for taking care of their mom, and thanks to Ray for the great experience with the pre-purchase inspection.
Well, and Ryan, thanks to you. You're one of our great listeners that continues to just provide us with, great info, great insight on different things. And there's no way all of us can know everything that's going on. You do a great job helping us out. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me contribute, and
I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Ryan. Have a great weekend. We appreciate it very much. Ryan's a great guy. Does a lot of great things for Drive Radio, a lot of things behind the scenes people don't know about, but he emails me different things a lot of times, content, things that are going on. Even during the show, he'll add different things. And, hey, as listeners, we appreciate that very much. It's really a great community that we have here at Drive Radio. And to Ryan's point a moment ago, that's really what we have here. It's a community. Right. All of you as listeners, customers that are going from the different shops and using them and the kudos that go out, really it's one big community. We appreciate it very much. And back to my point a moment ago about all of our sponsors, you know what? They're a part of the community also. I mentioned earlier, Kevin Flesh Law is going to be joining us here in the near future, not only as a sponsor, but he'll be coming in live on air about every 6 weeks. We'll be talking about different things that you can do after a crash, before a crash, different things going on in your life where you might need some legal help. Kevin is the guy. You can find him at fleshlawfirm.com. I need to get his info on the website, which I will do this week. I promise. I'll get him up and going so you can find him that way also.
This week I went down to the Springs, and I like people that are listening, please, we want to extend our group down to the Springs.
Yes.
Because we know we have
some good shops down there. Yes.
There are some great shops down there. I got to meet with them on Monday on their BDG group, and they're thinking about joining. But really, if you are a customer down there and you like that Springs group, just encourage them to join our Drive Radio.
We'd love to have them. Yeah, it would be great.
Because we do have customers down there that actually come to my shop, or they got to find someone down there, and we would love to represent them and have them part of our show. But the customers need to tell them.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So those of you in the Springs, please tell your local Napa Auto Care Center down in the Springs area to become a part of Drive Radio. We would appreciate that very much. One other new sponsor, I want to keep mentioning this because I want you people out there listening to go see him, to let him know that you appreciate him being a part of Drive Radio. Whether you need any collision work now or not, just stopping in and saying, hey, I hear you're part of Drive Radio. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. The next time I need something, I'll come in and see you. It's Joaquin Vega. He's at Denver Collision Experts, actually owns Denver Collision Experts. The phone number there is 303-761-0955. And he's basically on the, North Lakewood, South Wheat Ridge area. Best way for me to say that. Not hard to find. Great guy. Did a complete tour of his shop here recently. Actually, Dan Muir got me and Joaquin hooked up. So, Dan, I appreciate that very much. Dan actually found him, does some fantastic work. Really started on the hot rod end of things years and years ago is where he really came from, and now doing just general collision work also. So whether you've got an old classic car you need done or you've got a new car you need fixed, collision wise, he'll do either or.
That's good to hear because I wasn't sure what he did. And last week I told him that there was a guy that called in that wanted some work done on his truck. He wanted to put the new wood in.
Oh, he'll do all that.
And we sent him to him.
Perfect.
So hopefully
Perfect. Yeah, Joaquin will do all of that, does a great job. In fact, he's got what he does on some of the classic cars, just for those of you listening, he builds an automatic picture portfolio of your vehicle as it's going through the process of completion.
I love that.
So it's really cool to see it. He showed me one that he did where he actually took this car in pieces from another shop that hadn't been able to complete it. Guy went out of business, went broke, vehicle's all in pieces. He picks it up, puts it on a trailer. It was a 55 Pontiac, good looking car when it was finished, by the way. Went through the whole process, showed picture by picture all the different things they did. This car looked phenomenal, and I did a little checking on him before I let him join Drive Radio, by the way, folks. As most of you know, my uncle and my father are kind of old-time hot rodders and know that arena, that community very well. So I did a little checking on Joaquin before letting him be a part of Drive Radio. Yeah. So I went to my dad one day and said, hey, what do you know about a guy at Denver Collision Experts? And he's like, well, and that's not the name of his... He wants to advertise on Drive Radio as Denver Collision Experts, but he's got another name that he uses for the hot rod thing. He's like, well, I don't know that name. I said, well, what about this name? And he said, well, it's like Rocky Mountain something or other. And you can look it up on the website, by the way. He says, well, yeah. He says, I know those guys. Do great work. I'm like, you know about this 55 Pontiac they did together? He said, the green such and such, such and such. I mean, my dad starts rattling all this stuff off. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I know the car very well. It's fantastic. They did an excellent job. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He said, that car is phenomenal. And so, yeah, I got some really great reports out of some local individuals, some of them being family members of mine, my father and uncle, and they gave Joaquin some very high marks. Here's another cool story about Joaquin. I'm going to get him on the Rush to Reason show here in the near future during the day. Joaquin's an immigrant from Mexico that did it the right way, that had to jump through, you don't want to know how many hoops, even having the immigration department lose his paperwork at one point, and he had to start from scratch all over again. But he is a legal immigrant that ran a collision center in Mexico, wanted to come do it here, went through the proper channels, and it took him 10 plus years to make that dream come true. Great guy. Go by and visit him and tell him thanks for doing it the right way. Right. My thought there, Dennis, was if he's willing to go through that pain and that process to come here legally, must be a pretty good guy.
Yes.
And he is. So go check him out. It's Denver Collision Experts, 303-761-0955. Let's go to our next break here real quick. We'll come right back. Lines are open. Got a half an hour left of Drive Radio is all. 303-477-5600. John Rush, Dennis Brewster. We'll be right back. KLZ 560.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes good combustion, which saves cash at the pump. But one lows compression, and piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket, with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product. It cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as in Engine Performance Restoration, that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find the shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You will find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket. When you clean your engine with
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Your shocks not only absorb bumps, they also put pressure on your tires, keeping them in firm contact with the road. Any Colorado Select Car Care Center will gladly inspect your shocks and struts, and they will never sell you anything you don't need. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners or ASE certified master technicians driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturn. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff. This is Red Larry for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720.
We'll come back. Sometimes Scott, the best to tell people he's not here.
Site, PhoenixWeaponry.com. Enter Sports from Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
And this is John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Dennis Brewster, and I should have had this off the tip of my tongue, but Joaquin's other business is Rocky Mountain Customs. Rocky Mountain Customs. They do a lot of great work. You can go to their website and see this Pontiac Starfire that they actually did. It's on the website, and again, they do some great work. So anything you need on the collision side, we now have somebody that'll help you with that. If you need anything at all, give them a call. If nothing else, call them and say, hey, glad you're part of Drive Radio. 303-761-0955. John in Denver, you're next.
Hi there. Yeah, I was calling. I bought a 1978 Jeep CJ7.
Okay.
And that's a 304 with the 400 turbo transmission.
Quadra-track transfer case also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that was one of the things I was going to ask about. They said there's a chain on the inside of that.
There is. Chain runs all the time.
How often should that get changed out?
About every 100K.
100,000. Okay.
I would if it were me. You can also, they used to make a conversion kit years ago. Doug Nash, I don't know they're not in business anymore, so I don't know who, if anybody, is making a part-time conversion kit for that. But in the old days, and I did a lot of these back then, you could convert the Quadra-Track into a part-time transfer case, which then gave you a little better fuel economy and so on. Now, in your case, depending upon how much you're going to be driving it and such, you may or may not want to do that. But I would put a chain in it about 100K.
About 100,000. Okay, and then are those guys known for anything that was trouble with them, or?
Where do you want me to start?
Oh, shit.
I worked on a lot of those. I mean, I put kids through college working on Jeeps all those years, so I know that vehicle very, very well. The chain is one thing you want to stay up on. The rear axle shafts in that were very prone for those had a tapered axle where the hub is swedged on to the axle. It's not a one-piece axle and hub assembly. They've got a goofy splined small little keyway, and those would spin out, and guys would think the transmission was bad or the differential was bad, but really the axle had just spun inside of the hub. You can get some solid axles for that, although yours is going to be different because the Quadra-Track rear end in your Jeep is different because that's an offset drive. It doesn't drive in the center of the differential. It drives off to the side of the tube, so it sits off to the one, I believe it's to the passenger side. That thing's kicked over that direction. So you can look and see if they make solid axle shafts for that. If so, I would probably do that just because it makes it that much more robust. Outside of that, the oil leaked motor, but that was pretty common for those 304s. You just got to stay on top of that. Valve covers were very prone for leaking. They were tough to make pass emissions in the later dates. You have to make sure that you can still pass emissions with the vehicle if you're in the emissions area. Aside from that, electrical, they could have some electrical problems here or there. I'm not picking at it. I'm just kind of giving you some of the things that you need to make sure that you're aware of. And the axle shafts were probably one of the bigger things on that vehicle to be aware of.
Awesome. And then also it's leaking a little bit on the back of that 400 turbo transmission on the right side.
Okay.
It's got like a round cover.
Yes, that's the modulator. That's a modulator. You can replace just that gasket if you need to. And that's something Jeff over at Larry's can help you with. He probably has one of those kicking around.
Okay. What was the price on the chain like?
Call Jeff at Larry's. He's a guy that probably would be the first one to call in our member shop group as far as that goes, and would probably know that right off the top of his head. In the old days, okay, and I haven't worked on those for a number of years because there's not that many left. A chain replacement, parts and labor used to be somewhere around $350 or so, but that's back when you could buy a chain for around $100. I'm guessing today that chain is probably a couple $100.
Okay, and you said the shop is Larry's?
Larry's Automotive and Transmission, 303-427-2108.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. See, I have that one memorized too.
Yeah, you do. That's good. I was impressed.
So I'd give them out all day long. Yeah. It's every day I'm talking about you or Larry, so it's pretty easy for me to remember the name or the number. I just kind of just gets to rattling off there. All right, Gene is up next. Gene, welcome to Drive Radio. What's going on, sir?
Good morning. Good show.
Thank you, sir.
I want your opinion on how come gasoline is going up so much. I filled up this morning.
Yep.
It was 12 cents a gallon more than last Saturday.
Yep, it is. I actually had an oil expert on with me this past week on my daily show, Stanley Thorne, who's our resident oil expert. And right now, the reason the prices have gone up has nothing to do with the price of oil. We are going through, the refineries, I should say, are going through their seasonal transition, according to the EPA rules that are out there, the rules and guidelines and laws, I guess you could say. They're having to change into their summer blends of fuel. And when they do that, they will typically shut down part of the refineries to do their annual or biannual maintenance, I should say. They do that twice a year. They will shut down part of the refineries. And remember, every refinery in the country right now is running at about a 90 to 95% capacity. So when they shut down, it shortens supply, thereby raising prices. That's the reason they've gone up.
That's what I wanted. Thank you
You're
very
very
much.
welcome, Gene. Appreciate the phone call. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And they shot up overnight.
Right.
But that's why. It's not because of the oil prices in this particular case. It's because of that. And hey, Larry, real quick, do you want to go let Aaron from Phoenix Weaponry is going to join us here for the last couple segments of Drive Radio today. He's another one of our great sponsors on Drive Radio. Little different take because he does some custom gunsmithing. And we'll also, though, the other thing I want to talk about Aaron today is he'll build some custom parts. For some of you that are driving some of the older vehicles where going to the parts store and buying a part may not be possible, Aaron, in a lot of cases, can build you that part. So I'll tell you what we'll do, Charlie. Let's take a quick break now. We'll come back. We'll get a little bit longer segment with Aaron that way, and we'll do our last break here in just a little bit. So actually, this is the last break of the hour, isn't it? Okay, we'll take our last break, and we'll finish out the show. That'll work out perfect. Let's do it that way. So Drive Radio, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, KLZ 560.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Check to see that exterior and interior lights work and headlights are properly aimed. You can do it yourself or have any Colorado Select Car Care Center take care of it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find the Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
Hey Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find at every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism in our drive-line belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new adaptive foam brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we're anything but average. To find a Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. And because we know that your pet will have many different needs throughout its life, we offer complete pet care services. Whether you're referring for a needs a checkup, vaccinations, boarding, grooming, obedience training, we are here for your pet 7 days a week. At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we know that you want the very best for your pet, which is why you can count on us for the latest in technology and methods in everything we do. We are certified with the highest rankings by the American Animal Hospital Association and hold a Gold Star rating with the Better Business Bureau. You and your pet can visit us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Moultrie. Learn more about us by visiting our website at LoneTreeVet.com or give us a call at 303-708-8050. We believe that all pets deserve to have a good life.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing. But most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility. And they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard, coming back. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560, along with Dennis Brewster. Aaron Case from Phoenix Weaponry is just joining us, another great sponsor of Drive Radio. You can find him on drive-radio.com or phoenixweaponry.com.
Thank you guys for having me down.
Thank you for coming. You brought a little love of my life back.
Yeah, it's not even pink and purple.
It's awesome. Perfect. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it very much. Let's take a call real quick. We'll get into what Aaron does up at Phoenix in a moment. Brandon, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, so I've got a 07 Jeep Wrangler, and it's got 35s on it, budget boost lift, and I'm getting a vibration at 50 miles an hour I get on the highway.
Your driveline angle is off in the rear would be my guess. How long has the budget boost been on it?
Its entire life. It just started when I put the 35s on there, and then I did all the tie rod ends and the track bar. And, it didn't solve any of the problems, so it's still vibrating.
No, is it vibrating in the seat of your pants or in the steering wheel?
Steering wheel.
I wonder if it's in the tires.
It could be in the tires, could also still be driveline angle. What's happened is, of course, you've changed your speed of that drive shaft at 50 miles an hour now because of the larger tire. Would you go from a 31 or 30 to 35s?
No, 33.
33s or 35, okay, so you went up an inch.
Yeah.
Altering to mud?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to feel a lot of vibration with mud tires.
Yep. Now, is it vibrating where the wheel is going back and forth, or are you just feeling it vibrate through the vehicle?
It kind of vibrates through the vehicle. You know, people are sitting in the passenger seat, and they're like, hey, it's vibrating. And I was like, yeah, I know.
It could very well be tires.
Yeah. The mud is a tough.
I'll give you an example. On my Dodge Mega Cab, which I used to plow snow and such with. In fact, Aaron, I'll talk about this in a minute. Maybe a really nice piece for the tailgate, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But I went from just a regular stock, even though they call it an all-terrain tire, Ram does. It's a Firestone all-season tire, which is really pretty much a highway type tire. I went from those to the Toyo Muds. And yeah, the Toyo Muds, I can feel a little bit of a vibration. They're a little bit noisier. I still love the tire. In fact, yesterday in the snow we just had, I just put those tires on, between the snowstorms we've had. We haven't had snow for 6 weeks, so I did that in between. They work phenomenally in the snow, but on the regular highway, you're going to notice that they've got mud tires on them.
Yeah, you'll feel a nice howl as you're cruising down the road. And the pitch will change with your speed. And wait till you go to a set of swampers.
They're really bad.
Right. So it only happens at 50, though. I mean, so do you think it's the driveway, or is that my next?
I would still, with the budget boost being on it and knowing that vehicle like I do, I would still check the driveline angles to make sure they're correct, because the budget boost is changing the driveline angles. That front shaft is running all the time, even though the axle's disengaged. The shaft itself is still running. Make sure the angles are correct, because you may have to change those a little bit. Did you do a drop down, or when they did the budget boost, did they drop down the T case at all on it when they did that on the crossmember?
No. I did the budget boost myself, and I just threw it on there, and I thought that it was within that limit. It gives you like a instruction.
So next thing to do is buy the little, they're like 1-inch spacers, and if you can't find them, Aaron can make them for you. Again, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But really, it was a spacer with a longer shouldered tapered bolt that you put in there to lower the TK skid plate down. There's 6 of them that go on that. Really easy to install. That's probably all it needs.
Nice, awesome. I really appreciate it, guys.
Okay, you're very welcome, Brandon. You bet. Appreciate it very much. And Aaron knows exactly what I was just got done saying, because that Jeep's got a concave mount where the skid plate fits up into it, so everything centers up. When you do the budget boost or any kind of a lift, they made a little aluminum spacer, flat on one side, concave on the other, where you would actually then lower that transfer case, shield, skid plate, mount, and it's all one. Yep. It's a shield, it's a skid plate, it's where the transmission mount actually mounts to, and you lowered that whole assembly down about about an inch, I want to say.
Yeah,
and it changes the driveline angle, and off you go. Typically, that's what those work.
Yep. No, they're pretty easy to make, and most people have to do it because when you go to do a budget lift, you don't end up wanting to spend the money for on your drivetrain or breaking your shackles loose and rotating your axles properly. Or
right.
But that's why my Bronco is what it is because I was a machinist, so you just make what you need to make.
Right. So to Aaron's point, in fact, Aaron asked me a minute ago, how'd your Dodge come out? So what Aaron did, so I'm an anal kind of an individual. Most of you by now listening know that. So the new Ram I bought here recently, got my plow and everything all put on it. Well, I'm a guy that I don't like all the badging that's on vehicles. I don't like the Ram on the side and the Cummins diesel, and I don't like all that crap. I like a nice, clean look, nice, clean truck look. So I took everything off, including the big, huge Ram head on the tailgate right in the middle of the Ram trucks that they build. It's really gaudy. I mean, the thing is, and I'm not joking, the thing is about what, Aaron, 5 inches across probably?
It just probably sticks out like an inch and a half.
It's enormous. So I pull that off. Well, the problem is when you pull that off, the tailgate still has an indentation around the shield, I guess you would call it, and there's holes in the tailgate to help line that up at the factory when they go to pop that on. Makes it straight every time. So I went up to Aaron and I'm like, okay, Aaron, I've got this big spot in my tailgate that we've got to get covered up and we got to make this thing look good some way, somehow. So we went up there, Aaron came up with a good little design, machined it all out, even gave me the two-sided tape to stick the thing back on with, so I got it all back on there, and it looks fantastic. I didn't paint it white. Well, I polished it.
Oh, nice. That looked cool.
And I did it by hand, so what Aaron made, even though it had a few little tool marks in it, it was still, took a little bit of 1,000 grit paper, sanded it down, sanded the tool marks out, and then just took a little Brasso. That was all I needed for the aluminum, and polished it on up and made it look nice and neat, and stuck it on there. It looks fantastic. So I'll show you a picture in a minute. It looks good.
We'll have to throw the other one up on eBay and see if it moves.
We could actually show the finished product. Yeah, I'll send you my pictures. You could send the finished product or show the finished product that way so they can actually see what that looks like. Because it just gets rid of the big ram head. The other cool thing about this is if I ever wanted to, I could now machine logos or anything I wanted to and either stick it in the center of the shield or just take that shield off and have Aaron add whatever I wanted to in it, and away we go. Because there's different things on the market where people put, I don't know, Smith & Wesson shield or a Colt shield or whatever. You could put all that stuff in the middle of that emblem if you wanted to, and it's kind of like a rolling billboard in a way. I wanted a nice, clean look, nothing in it, but you could do anything you wanted to, right?
Yeah, we're actually able to engrave pretty much anything as long as we get kind of a black and white JPEG photo. We can convert it into pretty much an engraving program. And then one of the things I've been messing with lately, especially with the guns, is when I've been engraving, is I've been changing up the depths of the engraving. So I'll do part of it in like 10th thou deep, part of it 20th thou deep, and it starts giving it kind of a cool 3D look too. So we can do stuff like 10th Mountain Division logos or military police stuff or whatever you want. That looks really good, man. So glad it turned out.
You're showing it to Dennis and those of you on YouTube. Yeah, there you go. Now, it doesn't really work very well that way, but no, it came out really nice. It's nice and clean and polished, and it matches the bumper in the back that's all polished, and it came out fantastic.
So clear coat on it, or
you know what I did, and I just figured periodically when I wax a truck, I'll just put a little coat of wax on it, or I'll polish it just a teeny bit if I need to, because it will oxidize unless I keep it waxed up. But I like the fresh look. It matches the wheels on the truck really well, and it came out great. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, next time if you want, we can always bring it back up to the shop and clear chem film it, which will actually pretty much seal it in.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well,
so now you got to pry off the double-sided tape.
My point is this. You guys, even though you're on the gun side of the fence, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. When it comes to the auto side, the reason why you're a good fit for us is you can do pretty much anything.
We make stuff for aerospace, medical implants. We do automation stuff, automotive pieces. I really like my cars. I got a 69 Bronco running 40-inch IROCs. I got a 70 Trans Am, 455, 30 over. I made all my own. I tap all my own heads. I made my own valve guides. I mean, you name it. Your push rod guides, you name it. I've made pretty much just about anything.
So some of you guys listening, especially some of you folks that might have vehicles that finding parts becomes tougher and tougher to do, Aaron could sit down and just custom make a part if you needed something, especially some of you older guys or older cars, I should say, where maybe there's a steering component no longer made. You come up there, you'll make it.
You can make adapters to get your U-joints on there. Which, I think was it Flaming River sells like just the U-joint itself. We can machine down the shafts, put that thing on there, get it all buttoned up. We've made disc brake brackets for back of like Ford 9-inch to put the the Explorer rear discs on there. We've punched extra holes and rotors for different bolt patterns.
You name it, you can do it.
We're a full-service machine shop.
Yeah, that was my point. Phoenix Weaponry, even though it's Phoenix Weaponry, they do a full line of custom gunsmithing. They'll make a custom AR-10, AR-15, pistols, anything you want. You guys can do the whole 9 yards, which, by the way, just as a side note, I'll just throw this out there, not a whole lot more money than off-the-shelf product.
No, we can get used. What usually happens is people go out and they buy the cheapest rifle they can get. They're going out and they'll spend a fortune accessorizing it.
Yeah, upfitting it.
And they're taking all the parts off of it that they didn't want, throw it in a bucket, and you've now built the gun twice.
Correct.
What we do is you come in, you tell us what you're going to do with it. We build it out the way you want. You build it once. It's dialed in. You're all set.
And just as an example, I just got, I do some stuff periodically on the internet, a couple of sites that I follow to kind of see what's out there. So I just got an email update yesterday, I believe from Gun Genie, which is one I just subscribed to, and I just kind of look and see what prices are doing and so on. So they just sent me a deal yesterday where there's a special on a Colt AR-15, then the MP version. I want to say that by the time you get that one in, it's about $1,100.
Yep.
You can build that gun for the same price.
Oh, yeah. And better.
And have a better gun.
Because usually what you do is you have your clamshell front end, which is the standard old M4 front end on it. It's kind of that cheap plastic feel to it. You have your delta ring. You got to pull that back off, slap in your quad rails. We can just make it, however you want.
Do it all from scratch.
Yep. I think our cheapest one we built is about $960. That has a real good upper-lower combo on it, good bolt carry group, and a good barrel.
Got it.
From there, you just later, as your taste change or your experience gets greater, we can swap out the furniture later, and you're not throwing away, $80 pieces. You're throwing away like $5 pieces, or we just throw them in the bin and we give them to the next guy that comes in who's, well, I don't know what I really want. Okay, well, we'll stick this on there and try that.
Makes total sense. Yeah. All right, so Phoenix Weaponry. First of all, tell folks how to find you.
We're in Longmont off of 119. It's 1822 Skyway Drive, Unit P, and it's up at 80504 for if you Google, map stuff. And then we have a website, www.phoenixweaponry.com. Spelled just like the city.
It's easy enough.
Easy.
Piece of cake. Yeah. And the easiest way to find them is just go to drive-radio.com, go to the homepage, right there on the front, scroll down, find the Phoenix Weaponry logo. Really easy to find, by the way. Nice big bird.
Oh, yeah.
Real simple. Yep. Click on that. Takes you right to Aaron's website, and off you go. It's a piece of cake.
In fact, I got 4 guys down at the Taylor Gun Show today. Hanging out. They got a booth. We have a booth down there for the next 2 days. So
where's that at right now?
58th Avenue at the Merchandise Mart.
Okay, so Merchandise Mart.
Yep.
All right. So you go from the Denver Auto Show, hang out there for a little bit, have fun, then skip on over to the gun show.
Yep. Say hi to the guys. Tell them
there's something about cars and guns that just, to me, go together. It's just like this commonality of it's like peanut butter and jelly.
It's mechanical pieces. Everything that's mechanical is just it's
exactly right. So, and those of you listening, if you don't know this by now, do I believe in the Second Amendment? Absolutely. Love guns.
Your second is the one that upholds the rest of them.
Yeah. I have a love of guns like I have a love of cars. And those of you that listen long enough know that I love cars. Well, when I'm telling you I love guns as much as cars, I think you know how much I love guns.
That's how I grew up, is working on cars with my dad, shooting out back, working on stuff.
Likewise. Yep. Likewise. All right, so what's the, let me ask you this. When it comes to the car side of the fence, what's the funkiest car part you've ever made?
We made a real bizarre bracket to put a magneto on I think it was a 1920-something Indy car. Really strange. The guy brought me in the bracket, and we redid it like 3 times because he couldn't get the car to the shop. But yeah, we made a wave so he could run lights on it. I don't know why, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever works. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference.
Nope.
Exactly. Well, and the reason why I say that is there are times where even on especially in my world, when I'm running some of the equipment that I've gotten, so on, it's interesting how, Aaron, you know this, you can get a vehicle or a piece of equipment, skid steer, whatever, backhoe, what have you, that can be maybe only, 6-7 years of age. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden you go to find part X, it's nowhere to be found.
Discontinued.
It does not exist. Yep. So then it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Throw this entire thing away? No, you've got to figure out a way to find that part and make that thing work because there's too much value there to just scrap it.
Well, especially with heavy equipment, that's a big deal. But no, it's how I really got into machining, was just by making things that I couldn't buy. When I built my Bronco, there was no flip over steering, tie rod over.
Right.
So I actually made my own bushings, reverse bushings, threaded my own. I took a steering of a 1-ton F350, rethreaded it, put left hand, I did all of it.
Wow.
That
was back before anybody was doing any kind of stuff. Now you can buy this stuff.
Yeah, everybody's got it now.
But before that, you couldn't buy any of it.
You just made it yourself. So even your lift blocks, when I was broke, you'd have to make your own lift blocks. Well, you don't find lift blocks for a 11 leaf on a 11 leaf springs on a Bronco fitting a F-150 rear axle.
Right.
So you can
custom-made all that.
Yep. Just grab some of the room, knock it out.
Very cool. All right. So those of you listening again, please, if anything you need, especially some of you hot rod types, some of you guys are, and you know who you are, building some of the old Jeeps. We've had a couple of those phone calls today. Periodically, you're going to run into things, even on with the call we had a moment ago, 97 Jeep. You're going to be surprised how many things you won't find for that 97 Jeep in the very near future, if not today, because of the age of the vehicle. Almost 20 years old now. It's 20 years of age. The availability of things just starts to get lower and lower and lower. And what I mean by that is some of you are going to say, what kind of parts are you talking about? Alternator brackets.
Yeah.
Accessory brackets,
and sometimes even door handles,
the steering components, things like that. Yeah, the plastic door handles, things like that.
Door hinges.
Those are all things you could go to Aaron and have made if need be. So don't lose, don't get distraught and think, oh, what am I going to do? I'm never going to be able to keep this thing on the road. We've got an answer for you, Phoenix Weaponry. You can go up there and get the stuff made.
You're all taken care of.
Aaron, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it very much. The time always flies when you're here.
Yep.
Appreciate it very much.
We're good at count time.
That's right. Larry Young, the other side of the glass. Thanks, Larry, so much. Lowe's Automotive and Transmission, 303-427-2108. Charlie, of course, our great engineer on the other side of the glass, and Dennis Brewster, Extreme Auto Repair. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for filling in last week for me also. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, up next, Sportsman of Colorado. I have no idea because Scott didn't tell me what they're talking about, but I'm assuming
Turkey Talk.
Turkey Talk.
Oh.
Turkey Talk next on Sportsman of Colorado. So there we have. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. And I will see you guys all on Monday on Rush to Reason. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless and have a great, fantastic weekend in the Rocky Mountain, Colorado high. This is John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.